The final day of the 2020 Vegas shoot has arrived. In the Premier Championship Open class, of the 263 men that showed up to win $54,000, only 23 remain standing. But there are so many memorable moments that have already happened. Paige Pierce added her name to the growing list of women who shot perfect 900s. And the first ever recurve 900 shot by American Brady Ellison. And that's just to name a few.
Yep.
Yeah!
Everybody to our show here at the Vegas Shoot 2020. This is our set here just off the main field. I'm PJ Riley. I'm sitting here with Logan and Rio Wild. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be bringing you some special commentary during the shoot down, in addition to what you're seeing on the broadcast, just to give you some extra insight so you can find out what you can understand what's going on. But first, there was a lot of action today on the floor out here at the Vegas shoot, and history was made today. The biggest event we've seen here at the Vegas shoot, Brady Ellison, recurve archer, shot a 900. Let's see a little more of that.
I'm the king of the castle.
Brady Ellison, 900, first 900 in recurve history. How does that feel?
I don't even know. Like, in all honesty, today sucked. Like, it was like my first 5 ends was good. I was pretty calm. And then once we switched to the bottom, like, it was struggle bus. Like, every shot was hard. And, like, it just, like, I could just kept myself, like, just fire them quick, and they'll hit, you know. And the last 5 ends actually was not that enjoyable to shoot. But now that it's done, it's super awesome.
I saw you let down a couple times, which I think those are the first letdowns you had all weekend.
Yeah, I let down once the first day, too. But, you know, I knew you couldn't shoot a bad shot. You couldn't make a bad decision today. And there were just a couple of shots that were too long, and I felt like in my head I had a thought that it's a little bit too risky to shoot and you need to let them down. And, you know, I stayed disciplined today and was able to do it.
How's that belt buckle feel?
It's awesome. I've wanted this thing since I was, like, little and they started doing them. So now I'm going to wear this all the time and probably never going to take it off.
Well, all right, Brady, congratulations. First 900 in men's recurve history here at the Vegas shoot.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Well, Bruce, while we're here, Vegas shoot, tell me about that. This is history for you.
Yeah,
first 900.
First time ever. Didn't really think it could even be done. And, of course, if anybody's going to prove me wrong, it'll be Brady, won't it? No, we couldn't be any happier. I mean, how cool could this be to have a recurve for the first time in history ever shoot a clean score at Vegas? I mean, too cool. Congratulations again.
I hate archery. Thank you, Jack.
Congratulations.
The buckle's yours, right? You crazy bastard. Good job, man. Good job. Sorry.
That was certainly incredible. I can tell you down here on the floor, the feeling was electric. It was unbelievable. At the other end of the floor, we had our 22 archers who all ended up shooting perfect 900s, and they were feeling the same stress that Brady was feeling. We also had an 899 Lucky Dog in Glenn Boardwell, but our 22 archers who shot perfect 900s, let's see how some of them were feeling.
We are with Paige Pierce, women's champion with a 900. How's it feel, Paige?
I'm still in shock a little bit, definitely. It's great. It's awesome.
Those last 3 arrows, what's going through your mind when you know 3 arrows for perfect?
I think so much that I can't even tell you what was going through my mind. My head was just racing, and my whole game plan was get my arrows off really quickly, and then I did the opposite, of course. But I'm just so happy that they hit.
Well, congratulations, Paige. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're with Chris Perkins. Got his 900. How's it feel?
Feels awesome. I mean, I've shot a couple now, and the feeling never gets old. You know, to be those top few with 900, and just going in tonight. You know, you've got some jitters, and those last arrows, you just try and make strong shots, and hopefully the training takes over and the mental game kind of somewhat stays intact.
Do those last 3 arrows ever get easier?
No, absolutely not. The first two are okay for me. It's the last one, those gears get spinning and everything gets, kind of gets going up in that mine, and it's just, you just got to stay strong and just make a good shot.
All right, thanks a lot, Chris. Good luck tonight. All right, we're with Louis Price, who just shot his 900 here in Vegas. Tell us how it feels like.
Feels great. I've been trying to do this for a long time. Feels really good.
Tell me about those last 3 arrows. What does that feel like on the line?
It was nuts. It really was. I shaking more than probably all other 9 ends, so I'm just happy to put them in there, and I shot a good round today, so I'm even happier about that, so I'm good. Feels good.
What will you do between now and the shoot-off this afternoon?
I'll call my call my family and my fiance. Sorry. I'm just really happy.
Hey, good luck tonight, man. Dane Johnson shot his 900. Dane, tell us how it feels.
It feels amazing. Last year I didn't do too well, but this year my goal was to shoot 900 in the pro class. I did it one time before in the U class, but this feeling in the pro class is another level.
What do those last 3 arrows feel like?
Another world, like I said. I mean, I try to keep my shot passes the same. I try to focus on that middle. Try to drill that middle. So, I mean, it was definitely nerve-wracking. It was hard when he said round 10. I was like, oh God, But I kept my composure and stuck them all in there.
Well, Dane, enjoy the day with your family, and good luck this afternoon. All right, we're with Kyle Douglas. Shot a 900 here in Vegas. How's it feel, Kyle?
It's pretty crazy. It feels really good. Really good.
Those last 3 arrows, what goes through your mind? How's your body feel when you're shooting those last 3?
Just don't do anything dumb. Just make strong shots and get them going fast.
And for tonight's shoot, what are you going to do? How are you going to prepare?
Just stay strong in my bow and not get timid or weak, and stay real aggressive.
You've been shooting that bow awesome. Good luck tonight, Kyle. Thanks again. We're with Dan McCarthy. He shot his 900 here in Vegas.
Yeah, locking up a little low, right and left and high, but I kept them in the black ring.
Spin that thing around so people can see how good that target looks. Dan, tell us about those last 3 arrows.
Last 3 arrows, I tried to not think about it. I probably shot the quickest 3 shots I've shot maybe my whole life. I'm a pretty slow shooter. I didn't shoot it super fast or anything, but I tried to just get a good rhythm and fire them in there without really giving it any thought. I mean, really, we still have a bunch of them hopefully a bunch of shots to fire, so there's no reason to really make it a big deal out of the last 3 of the round. But they're nerve-wracking all the same, just like last 3 of any round. You make them into something they're not, but it's nerve-wracking. That rush, though, is why we do it. If you don't enjoy the nerves and you don't enjoy feeling a little out of your element, then you'll never make it in this game. You gotta live for that rush, that inability to be able to keep calm is, I think, what makes this so fun.
Well, what do you do the rest of the day to get ready for that shoot this afternoon?
I'll watch my wife shoot. Hopefully she shoots well. My parents came this year to watch, so probably spend some time in the stands visiting with them, and other than that, just work the booths.
All right, Dan, well, enjoy the time with your family, and good luck tonight.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, we are back. That's some of the 900 emotion that we saw there. Now, what we're going to be doing tonight here is we've got several shoot-offs in the championship division. We've got shoot-off, not all of them are for first place, but we've got shoot-offs in young adult championship, women's recurve, women's compound, senior, and of course the championship compound open. So what we're going to see is we're probably going to see every division except for Championship Compound Open, they're all going to shoot together. Recurve, Compound, Young Adult, they're all going to shoot together. We're going to have our winners there. Again, some of them are for first place, some of them are for other podium spots, before we go to the big one for $54,000. Now, sitting here, as I mentioned, we've got Logan Wild, Rio Wild. Guys, let's set the stage here. Tell me a little bit about what the pressure these guys are feeling tonight.
Well, this is one of the toughest parts because you're in the back. You don't know what's going on. You're hearing the crowd get rowdy. You don't know how big the crowd is. You're back here like trying to focus on your archery, but you know in a little while you're going to be competing for something that everybody dreams of winning.
Yeah. Logan, how's that? I mean, talk about the prestige of the Vegas shoot.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, you go back to guys like Jeff Rogers, Terry Ragsdale, you know, the guy who shot the first ever 900. I mean, this is the pinnacle of all the events in the sport of archery. I mean, everybody dreams of winning Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, you can win any other tournament, and congratulations, it's a great achievement, but this is it. This is our Super Bowl. This is the coup de grace. This is the pinnacle. This is the mountaintop right here.
This is everything.
This is everything.
You guys both have lots of experience out here on the final stage. Rio, how many times have you won the Vegas shoot?
I've won Vegas 3 times.
3 times. Let's talk about that. Winning the Vegas shoot, what does that do for you, your career as an archer?
Well, I would say the biggest part of winning Vegas for you, it just leads to credibility for a long time. And the cool part is now with the TV and stuff, it gives you notoriety. People know who you are. You walk down the hall, they recognize you. A fun example is I have talked to Paige and told her forever. She's like, I hate indoors. I hate all the World Cup. I hate all that. And it just is the PR of getting out there in front of people. It is so huge for your career. And the notoriety. You know, it's good for your sponsor. It's good for you to have a brand and be who you are.
No exception. Logan, when you're up there on the line, what's going through your head?
We caught up with him and
you know, the thing that I would tell people that you try to do to make yourself stay within the moment is you got to take every arrow one at a time, right? We come here, we know that in our division we have to shoot a 900 to make the shoot off. Well, you can't shoot a 900 unless you shoot a 10 on your first arrow, right? So you got to take it one arrow at a time and don't count your chickens or eggs before they hatch, you know what I mean? So you just got to be focused, focus on your shot, take it one arrow at a time, and go on with your routine.
Is that realistic?
Like, no one's ever shot a 600
to win it, yes. It's tough, but you have to, because you can't think about the shot you just shot, and you can't put the other one in the 10 ring before you shot it. So you can't break out of the norm that you've done in those previous 90 arrows to get to this spot.
Well, last year I heard Steve Anderson talk about that shooting the 900, like getting through the last 300 is the tough part, and then getting to the finals, that's kind of icing on the cake. Hang on 1 second, we're going to cut over to the Brady Ellison.
All right, everybody, we're going to ask Brady a question or two here. Brady, in my life and running this thing for 30 years and being at it for way more than I need to be, I didn't think this was even possible. Tell me in your words what this really means. I mean, it's easy to say 900. What does it mean to you?
It's crazy. I mean, this is truly the first time in my career that I was perfect for an entire event. And I don't know if I'll ever be again. I don't know if I'll ever even shoot like this again. But I mean, I stepped up there and it was hard work, and I don't know how all the compound pros do it. I mean, the last 5 ends I shot today sucked. Like, I was nervous, every shot was hard, and they just all landed.
Awesome. Give him a huge, huge round of applause. Thanks again, man. All right, you can go out either way. All right. And I'll just add one thing as he walks out. There's your 2020 Olympic gold medalist.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Brady Ellison, truly an
a little
icon
extra
of our
pressure
sport,
Bruce put on him
got
there for the
lots
Olympics.
of them in the
Great.
ring tonight.
Buddy's had a lot. I mean, I read an article the other day
you've
that
seen here
they were talking about
on a
some stats
flaming
company said what
chariot.
medals would be brought home.
Yeah.
And his
Here
name
he
was on the
comes,
top,
the
so
Sultan of
it's there
Smooth
already.
as the
It's
video
just a matter of
crew caught up to
who's going to
two-time
keep
Vegas
piling it on.
champion Sergio Ponte.
Winning Vegas is every time It's not only a pleasure, it's an honor, also because it's the most important tournament in
let's
the
talk
world
about
for the
Brady
compound.
for a second while we're there.
It's the
So
second
you guys
time,
have
but
shot
it was
900
completely
for the
different
compound.
the first time. For me, it was so strange.
Take us
I
through
remember,
what that
and
would
you
be
see
with
the
a
video, where George Ryan's next to me.
It's, you know, like,
He touched me and
shooting
said,
900 the compounds, it's so different. Like,
yeah, I know, I do.
our
but-
division, you
No, no,
have
win.
to
You
do
should.
it to even have a shot to win.
Yeah.
And and if I miss,
But really,
I'm out.
there
I'm
was
gone.
not,
Like,
like,
it's not even
the
a
lucky
thought.
dog
So it's a
position
little
for me.
different. It's a
It was
whole
the
different
number of
mindset
the
for him because
finalists
it's not only to be
and
the
the
first,
time
but
to close the final.
this year,
The
I mean,
second
he hit such a
time,
dramatic
more
lead,
than
so you
20
could fall asleep at the
archers,
wheel.
the best
Like, the
shooter
mindset's
in the
going to be
world
so
raised to
different. And
me.
it's like,
Say,
I remember
okay,
Mary
take
Zone
my
shot the
time,
first
this will
900
be
as
a
a
very
woman.
long
And
night.
they're like, oh yeah, we should throw in your shoot
Take
off. And I'm
your
like,
time,
it's
no
a
risk,
major
stay
accomplishment.
in the middle,
Great
and
accomplishment.
hope for the
But it's
best.
just a little different
That's
than
what-
playing in
I think that
the
Vegas
shark-infested
is the most
waters
important
we
moment
played.
for a
Yeah,
career.
yeah.
In the
Yeah, and I
past,
don't
if you
mean
ask
to
me about
belittle what
Vegas,
you guys
for
do,
sure,
because I
would
can't even imagine
say
shooting
to you,
900 with
I
a
will compete in
compound.
Vegas
Well, I mean, the
for-
one thing
for
I
my career.
want
Every
to say is,
single
like,
year,
look at
year
Brady
after
today.
year,
I mean,
I will be
I
here
think he ended
to
up winning
try
by
to
14
compete.
points.
But even if you
So,
can
so
compete
you have
20
to be
years in a
focused
row,
on every shot. Like,
you are
it
not
wasn't
sure
a
to
matter of
win,
he wanted
but
to win.
you still be
He wanted the
here
900.
to try.
Yes.
I think that's
So
exactly
he was
the
shooting
feeling
against his opponent
from
at
everyone.
the
You
point,
know
and,
that
and
you
it's
have
nothing
nothing
to say anything bad against his
simple rule.
opponents. Brady just shot
Gambling on
out of
the
this
race.
world. I mean,
Crispin
Here
Duenas
in
was
Vegas,
second.
everyone
He shot a
can
95,
put money on
95,
the best,
96.
but
That's
you
great
have to
shooting.
put
And that
money
right
on
there
you.
gives you an
You
example
have to
of what
invest on
kind
your
of
course.
accomplishment it
And
was.
That's what
I mean, to
say
beat
to
them
all
guys
the
by
young guys,
14 points,
Italians
and you're
all
talking
around the world.
Crispin's an
If you
Olympian.
are
He's been
sure
there.
about your course
You know, a
and you
world
want to
world
invest in
medalist.
yourself,
So
here,
it's not that
the
he's
place that
by any
your
means
investment can
anything
be
got
flat.
better.
No.
something
So going
very
back to the
clear.
pressure
You are
for you
Vegas.
guys, like I said, Steve Anderson said last year he felt like the last 300 is harder than this.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
You know, everybody's mindset's a little different. I'll be honest with you. The last 300, the start of it is a little rough. But to be honest, the last half, on my mind, I talk to myself a lot. And like even the first time I shot 900, on the bell was me, Chance, Jesse, and Nathan Brooks. And we all finished. In fact, me and Chance were on the bottom. I walked up. I shot 3 arrows, and Chance had 1 down there. And he's like, what in the world? And I'm like, you know what? I told myself I shot 87 good arrows. 3 more ain't that tough. And it went boom, 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 boom. And so it's just on how you look at it. Everybody has their own perspective and how they want it. But to me, that was the biggest thing.
Is it easier? I mean, by the third day, you're peer group, so you're shooting with other guys that have been shooting around you. Is it easier if everybody's doing well? Like if everybody's really pounding it?
I think so. I mean, you just kind of get into a groove, and you don't think about it. You step on the line, you shoot your shots, you go up, you score, pull your arrows, and it just becomes a routine. It's just like clockwork. So I think you do, you know, because if somebody's on your target and they start to struggle or they miss, when that starts to put the little doubt into your mind, because when you're clean, the last thing you do is you're not watching everybody else along the bales.
Okay.
But if you've missed, we're all gawky. We're all looking up towards the leaders and seeing who's missing or what's going on, because we want to know. But when you're up there and you're still clean, you don't care about anybody else. You care and focus on your game.
We did have a couple archers who dropped in the 9th and 10th end today to blow their 900s. How does that feel?
I've done it once before.
You have?
Last arrow.
Last arrow.
I'm not sure what year it was, but I had been rolling along really good, and I'm just sitting there, and kind of the same manner of I'm like, I've told myself I've done it so many times, and he just sat there and went down and went off, and it was just below the 10, and so you're like, we discussed that a little bit today on the line. Is it better to miss the first day or the last day? Which one is the better kick to you? And I'm like, I'm not sure one's better than the other, but I'll be honest with you, it's hard to shoot a 900, period.
Yeah. And I can tell you, I've missed the first year I cleaned it, the year prior, I missed my 89th arrow.
89.
Yep. I let down, and I was like, all right, focus, gather myself, come back full draw. And I just was like, be strong with it. Don't be weak. And I got a little too strong and pulled it right out the right.
Does that then, do you go home from this tournament then, and is that hanging, lingering?
To me, that one was really kind of tough because that was the same year I shot my first 30X in the tournament here.
Wow.
And so I was like, I really, really wanted the 900. I felt like I was shooting good enough that I could do it. So that was really bittersweet because I had the 30X, but then I didn't get the 900.
Wow.
Well, until I won it the first time, a big part of that was as soon as I missed, it was like, dude, it's a whole nother year till I get a chance to try and win this event.
All right. Yeah,
Vegas Shoot
and then,
2020.
so you still have,
like to
you would
our
still have
generous
indoor
sponsors,
nationals after
including
this. So your
the
indoor
National
season's
Field
not
Archery
over.
Association of the United
So I
States.
guess you can't.
Easton.
You have to move on.
Yep. No.
Matthews,
100%. We have.
Morrell
I mean, in 2
targets.
weeks I go to Salt Lake for
Trueball,
the
Excel,
section of the USA Archery Nationals
BCY
to try and make the
bowstrings,
finals. I mean, it's
Maple
not
Leaf
over,
Press,
but this is such a big coup de grace.
Arizona
It's like,
Archery Enterprises, Lancaster Archery.
So let's talk about some of the archers out
Shrewd.
there. There are
First
some of the
Dakota
biggest names
National
that we know. There's some people who
Reinhardt
aren't out there, some
targets.
people who aren't known that
G5
well.
Prime.
Let's talk about somebody like a Glenn
Elite.
Boardwell, who came in as
City
the
of
lucky
Yankton.
dog.
Downtown screen
I mean, this
printing.
puts him on the big
Mount
stage
Marty
for the
College.
first time.
No, he's been on
World
a plane.
Archery.
Boardwell made it
Yes,
before.
me and
Okay.
him shot next to each other in the shoot-off one year.
Nice.
So I know he's
Active
been there
tents.
before. So, and those are the
Copper
guys.
John
Most of the time, if
stand.
you're one of the 900s,
Fuse
you don't want in there.
accessories.
Is that right?
Because
don't
those
want
are
to
guys.
repeat.
Yep. Those are
Martin
guys that you
Archery
know are capable
and
of getting there.
Chronotier.
They
Right.
just had that one hiccup.
Gotcha.
And so, I mean, because if you look back at the lucky dogs that have won, right?
Yeah.
They're guys that were good shooters that made it in.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
not that some of the other lucky dogs weren't good shooters.
Right.
But it was the lucky dog is such a kind of in a way luck. You
Yeah.
got to hope the bell holds your arrow straight. You got to hope
Yes.
that I mean, it's so much intense that it's like it's just a matter of being right. And I mean, it's changing more and more because guys are learning how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that in 2 out of the last 4 years, it's been a lucky dog that's won the
All right,
shoot.
everybody.
Right.
So it's a little
technical
different,
problem here, but
and
we're
that's
gonna
not the
take
guy you
care
want
of
to
it
see.
by making
I mean, if
everybody
you're the
really
one in the
happy.
900, you're like,
Greg Easton, where are
oh, you know.
I've got 3 T-shirts here.
Is there?
And you're gonna
So
take and
what
throw
does
these
this
up in
do
the
for
crowd very
you as an
carefully.
archer, making it
In
to
one
the
of
stage
these,
for
I'm
the
gonna
first
ready my
time?
testers.
Maybe you don't win it, but you're just getting on to the final
In one
stage.
of these
first time.
T-shirts is a
To me, it's such a
$500
confidence
chip.
builder. I mean, not
All right.
only for this event, you know, the
Go
future
throw.
events throughout the year. You know,
Now,
you
people,
now
be
told
careful.
yourself that
No
you can
jumping
compete
out of your
with the
seats.
best in the world.
No running
So
around.
absolutely, it's just such a big confidence builder to me, and it just kind of, as long as you continue to practice and do your daily routine, that
Yeah.
it gives you something to carry you through the rest of the year.
Right, right. The shoot off itself, is it better if it's short? Is it better if it goes longer? For you as you're standing up there, how are you feeling as it's going on and on and on?
You know, it just depends. I have won it at 12 ends, and I've won it at like 3 or 4.
Zoom in
No
on that
kidding.
young
And
lady.
so,
Congratulations,
my very first
500
one, we went
bucks.
12 ends.
Ah.
And we would have shot a 328 X's on that round.
Wow.
And so you're talking,
Thanks again for
and I'll be
coming.
honest with you, I went out to dinner with Ben Summers that night. He took us out to dinner. And it was so funny because when we were done, I said to my buddy, you got to get me back to the room. I'm exhausted. I'm going to, like I was done physically. The next year I won, it was me and Martin Demsbo. And when we were done, I didn't feel like I'd won because it was so quick.
Ah, right.
So it's just kind of, each one's a little different. We
Yeah.
always would love for it to be quicker. I mean, you'd love to have a 15-point lead or 16-point lead and win, but
Yes.
all honesty, it's going to be what it's going to be.
Right. Logan, let's talk about the bows now. The bows now today that they're putting out are some of the best that we've ever seen in terms of efficiency, stability, all that. How is that going to propel us in the future for, I mean, so the last 2 years we had 2 of the biggest fields
Yeah.
we've ever seen, 23 and 22.
Well, I think there's 2 things that we've seen. I mean, let's go back to like when Dave Cousins started, right? Dave Cousins was the man, right? And he was winning a lot of tournaments. Well, then there was a lot of people that, you know what, for us to compete at that level, we had to start practicing at the same level Dave was practicing.
Right.
And I think nowadays, not only has the equipment gotten better, but guess what? Everybody understands that they have to put in the time and effort to get out on this final stage. And I think that's a big difference because now these guys are understanding their equipment. The equipment is obviously better, and they're spending a lot more time behind the equipment.
Right.
So with those 3 elements that you put together,
Ladies
that's where
and
it's gonna lead
gentlemen,
to
please
success out
welcome the
there.
University of Nevada at Las Vegas
Let's talk about
cheerleading
it,
squad.
Rio. So you've won this before. Let's talk about coming into this year. What was your training schedule like on a normal day?
A normal day, I would shoot about 200 arrows a day. Like,
No kidding.
work a lot with my equipment, see how each round was different, work on stuff, see how it was doing. I mean, and what's funny is I do make a lot of stuff work at home. You don't know what's going to be best.
Right.
A good example is we got here, me and Mike used to practicing together Wednesday, and he's like, dude, my 27s are not shooting. They're not shooting very good. And I said, okay, because we're shooting next to each other, and adds a little extra enticement and pressure.
Yeah.
Needless to say, he goes, went back, grabbed his 23s. We went to the local shop for a tournament. He shot a 30X and just missed 1X the whole night. And today he shot 29Xs.
With the 23s?
With the 23s.
No kidding.
So it's like the whole time of training, people don't realize is, not only we just shooting arrows to be stronger, but we're testing our equipment to see what we can get to make it more finite to hit the middle.
Missing for you guys is probably not the same as missing for someone like me. So you can probably tell, like Mike did, hey, they're just not quite, just off a little bit.
You know, when we do our seminars, we've talked like this with the people that have attended. We're not trying to make every shot be perfect, because we're not machines, and we'll never continue to make every single shot perfect. We want you to identify those mediocre to those borderline bad shots, and then when you make those, when you're working on your equipment and your setup, how far out is it going? Is it, you tried an arrow at X length and X point weight, and he shot it, and it was a half shaft 10. Now you change something up. Now when you make that same shot, is it half shaft 10? Is it missing the big 10? Or is it closer to the X length? That's where, you know, I think the guys have gotten a lot better, and gals. I mean, look at the women right now. I mean, phenomenal. I mean, we had, what, 596 at the world record?
Our national flag to your left.
Let's go out to the national anthem right now.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vegas Shoot 2020 here in Las Vegas, Nevada, South Point Hotel and Casino, as we await the Premier Class Championship Compound Open. But before we get to that, there are plenty of matches left to be decided. I'm Greg White, sitting alongside Crystal Govin, who is of compound and recurve fame, Olympic hopeful for 2020. And Crystal, we're really excited about tonight's shooting.
Yeah, a lot of great shoots coming up, and can't wait to watch them all.
All right, so let's get to what we have on deck. Tonight, Crystal, we have compound female, compound young adult, compound senior, recurve female, as well as compound open.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the competitors to the field for the first phase of the finals of the Vegas Shoot 2020. Shooting on targets 7 and 8 for the championship compound female category. After the victory of Paige Pierce, they're shooting for second and third. It is world champion Sarah Lopez and Linda Ochoa Anderson of the United States of America.
All right, so here we go, Crystal Gavin. This is to decide second and third place in the championship compound female. You heard George mention that Paige Pierce had won this with a perfect 900 round. And so let's talk about how we're going to shoot this match.
So I think we're going to have a couple matches simultaneous. So these women are out here right now. I think we might bring in some young adults, seniors, something like that. And we'll wait to see who's announced next.
The champion, who's Paige Pierce, is going to be here at the end. We wanted to introduce her now, but Paige will save you for the end, all right? These two young ladies are shooting for second place and third place. You will get one practice in, and at this time you can go put your targets up on your target number, and we will start with your practice end.
So you heard Bruce Calder say that they're going to allow them an end of practice.
Yeah, it looks like just the women are going to shoot by themselves this year, so a little bit different than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, normally what we'd see is a couple of classes that'll be coming out at the same time.
And at this time, also, please welcome our championship compound young adult competitors shooting for first, second, and third. Nathaniel Wilkin of Colorado. Dalen Hazelbush of Utah. Cole Zoig of Minnesota. Also now, please welcome shooting for second and third, our championship compound senior gentlemen. Scott Starnes of Indiana. Kendall Woody of Virginia. The champion for this category was Keith Trail in his third consecutive victory. Keith will be out later today.
All right, so those are our three matches that we're going to be looking at right now. And again, Crystal, we have championships to be decided, but right now for these particular three classes, these are to decide second and third place, as we already have champions decided in the compound female, which of course is Paige Pierce, who shot a perfect 900, the sixth woman to do that. On the young adult compound side, we had a perfect shoot by Cole Frederick from Georgia. He shot perfect 900 to win, and third year in a row in the compound senior is Keith Trail.
With an 899.
With an 899 in compound senior, which of course, the compound senior category with NFAA rules clearly distinguishes that you need to be 50 years old or older as of the first day of shooting, which would have been today's Sunday, and so this would have been on Friday.
You will have one practice end. After you've shot your practice end, I will read the rules for the elimination shoot down.
All right, so Crystal, practice end. We're at 20 yards from shooting line to the target face. We shoot a 40-centimeter target face into a 10 and an X ring. Explain that.
So the 10 ring is the bigger ring we see in the yellow, and the X ring is going to be the smaller dime size ring, also in the yellow, but inside the 10 ring.
So practice, why do we need practice when we come here?
So they're genuous giving practice here, because the lighting can change from a practice venue out into the big lights depending on how the shadows and all that look in their scopes. So a lot of times you don't see practice given at the world archery level, but here in Vegas, everything's different, and they do get a practice end under the big lights.
Plenty of shooters have shot in this arena, but in a different configuration with the lights higher and not these spotlights that we have shining down on them. So it's critical, though, and especially with these compound shooters, because they have the ability to make quick adjustments. Explain that.
So you'll see they have a sight on their bow, and they can give fine-tune adjustments. So if they're hitting a little high, a little low, left or right, they can go ahead and click their sight and dial that right in to hit in the middle. And in the practice ends, they can shoot as many arrows as they want. Once we get into scoring, we'll see 3 arrows at a time.
So, Crystal, in this particular situation, does having this practice help with the nerves at all, or does it increase the nerves?
Really depends on the archer. Some feel this calms them down, and others, you know, they may be calm in the practice, and as soon as it starts scoring, they get a little nerves, and that's actually going to change usually where they hit.
We will read the rules of this match as soon as you've returned.
The 20-yard walk down to the target. They'll take a look at where those actually impacted, because sometimes you get a distinction between what you see in the binoculars and what it actually impacts downrange. And when they get back to the line, we're going to hear the rules for this match. So we'll all hear our PA announcer, George, give us exactly what's going to happen in this one. There is the ability here in NFA to repair targets, meaning if there's a hole that you have that you don't like, you know, you can actually repair that so it looks nice and solid. So let's hear from George.
Competitors, please pay attention to the following. These are the rules for the shoot-off. The shoot-off will include one practice end followed by end-to-end sudden death. The first end will be scored with regular scoring, followed by scoring where only the X ring scores 10 points. After each end, only those who are still tied with the highest score will continue in the shoot-off. All archers' placement in this tournament, other than first, second, or third, are determined by the order in which they drop out of the shoot-off. If more than one archer drops out in the same end, those archers will be placed based on total score and X count of all 3 days, including the score and X's accumulated in the shoot-off. So once again, you've had your practice end, and now we will start end-by-end sudden death. Does everyone understand the rules? We may proceed under DOS control.
All right, so here we go. 3 classes to decide second and third. And obviously, what you're looking at now is the compound young adults. So one of those archers is going to be sitting down on this one, not able to stand on the podium. But Crystal Govan, we have some heavy hitters that are shooting in this arena right now.
Yeah, we look at both the women's and the senior, our veterans out there. All of them have been out here before on this stage in this exact shoot-off. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these young adults handle the nerves. All 3 of them, I believe, it's their first time out there.
So 3 arrows. Each time we shoot a complete set of arrows, in this case 3, it's called an end. Good look at Scott Starnes, the veteran shooter. By the way, Scott Starnes is shooting off against this man right here, Kendall Woody, and this is an identical repeat of what happened last year as Keith Trail won it and left these two to come into this arena to shoot off for second and third place.
I can't remember who took second last year.
I believe it was Scott Starnes.
Okay, so we'll see if Kendall's going to come back.
You really looked at me and made me commit to that, didn't you? All right, so just in case you were curious, each end, so each time we shoot 3 arrows, you have a total of 2 minutes on the clock to shoot these arrows. So for those that were watching, Scott Starnes, who just released his last arrow, the tall guy with the PSC shirt on, Scott let down and then he drew back again because he had plenty of time on the clock.
And Linda Ochoa Anderson, both of them with triple X on this first end. The judges will be moving up and down the line. Remember, this is a sudden death shoot-off. Regular scoring for this first one.
All right, so Crystal, this is a new scoring
Another end
procedure
is
this year
necessary.
for.
We're going to go to X-ring score, same as World Archery's score for compounds. That's the X becomes the 10. World Archery 10 is the same size.
All right, so Crystal, this is a new procedure for NFAA Vegas shoot. What you have is the judges now are going down the line with actual tablet scoring, and they are confirming their scores with the tablet and then going back to the judge, and then Bruce Cull president of the NFA Foundation, with each call.
And again, this first end is the Big Ten scoring, so what they've been scoring all weekend long as a 10.
So we know Linda Ochoa Anderson needs a 30 to stay in this match because Sarah Lopez has already scored it.
30.
All right, so they're all tied.
So they get to go to the next round.
Now we move on to the 3 competitors in the compound young adults.
All 3 of them shot an 8.99 this week.
Wilkin on the right part of your screen. Nathaniel from Colorado, he'll be scored first.
Wilkinson 30.
So Wilkin a 30. And Crystal, I believe all 3 of these young archers are 16 years old, and they get to come in front of this huge crowd and to shoot off for second place after an incredible.
Hazelbush 30.
All right, so Hazel Bush still in it.
Yeah, this is a fairly new category, just a couple, maybe 3-4 years old. They added this classification, and it's a great opportunity for kids who maybe don't feel comfortable going in and shooting against the pros quite yet, but are perfectly capable of shooting the same scores.
Zoid 30.
So Dan Heath for championship compound females and the championship compound young adults.
So now we move on, as everyone's tied so far, to the championship compound senior. Scott Starnes scores first, followed by Kendall Woody.
Judges currently scoring the championship compound seniors now.
That looks pretty safe from this angle. The bow shooters have
Starnes
30s.
30.
So next up on this one, we're going to be going to only the X-ring counts as 10s.
And Woody 30.
So everyone's all tied up. So we're going to the next round of shooting. And what happens here, Crystal, is that the 10 ring is 4 centimeters or the size of a U.S. silver dollar. And then we're going to go, that was the last round. Now the 10 is going to be 2 centimeters, size of a U.S. penny. How difficult is it to be consistent? Because if you're in practice, a lot of people can do it, right? Compound, you did it for many years. But when you're under the spotlight here and you have the pressure of, scoring another podium, you don't want to be sitting there third when you have the opportunity to be second, right?
No, and the thing is, all weekend it's been the Big Ten scoring. So all weekend it's just about playing it safe and not doing anything stupid, where now you really have to make that good shot to hit that little 10, which is the X-ring.
Left part of your screen is Linda Ochoa Anderson, now shooting for the United States. From Mexico, she took a year off from World Archery competition, made the U.S. national team, and she'll be competing for the U.S. in 2020.
Both women have X's in their first arrow, from what we can see on the TV. It's a lot of weight on that bow.
Yeah, for a young man, you can see he kind of bends back a little bit to handle that, but that could have been a little bit out.
We see Scott looking at his arrow. He's not happy with that.
And Kendall Woody as well.
Ooh.
After he released it, you could see the grimace on Kendall's face. He's the archer on the left part of your screen.
So they both potentially have one out, which would mean they're both still tied. So
cheers from the crowd as the compound young adult 2 archers finish up their ends. Oh, you can see Scott. Come on.
And you see it drop out low. Caught the Big Ten, but doesn't look like it caught the X ring.
Scott giving us a big stare down into that camera. His wife Dee not in attendance this weekend because she was sick, and poor Scott was roaming around this hall like a lost puppy.
Yeah, just wasn't right not to see Dee by his side.
Dee, we hope you feel better. We know you're watching this feed as you're trying to will your husband on to a second place finish, but we'll see how the score turns out. So first up to score is Sarah Lopez.
Formerly shooting for Mexico. And they are shooting out.
Crystal trying to take a really good look at our view on this one to see if she can predict it. So
because it looks like they both shot 2 X's and a Vegas Big Ten. See what the judges have to say. Bruce is down there.
Lopez, 29.
So for Sarah Lopez, that 29 leaves the door
Next
open
target
for
Bruce is
Linda
gonna call
Ochoa
us
Anderson.
Linda Ochoa Anderson.
It looks like Linda's top target could be out. So it's going to be close. We'll wait for the judge call. Other two are solid X's.
The two on the bottom.
Anderson, 29. We'll do it again.
See a little laugh by Linda.
Next up will be the target of Nathaniel Wilkin on the
Okay, so we're going to move on to compound young adult scoring. As we know, we have another end of competition for Sarah Lopez and Linda Ochoa Anderson. Now the crowd, there were certain aspects of this crowd that were looking on and cheering on these young adults, as you would expect. I mean, how many 16-year-olds are just going to travel off to Vegas on their own? You have to imagine they showed up with some family. And archery is a family sport, so chances are we didn't have a chance to talk to these young athletes about their history in the sport because they were down in the warm-up area before we came on air. But, you know, 29, okay,
so
for
29
Wilkin.
points for Nathaniel Wilkin,
But you have to
shooter
think
from
that
Colorado.
families that are here are shooting with their children as well. There's a good chance that that happens.
Yeah, most of these kids you see here competing, they got into the sport because their parents did.
All right, so Nathaniel Wilkin in at a 29.
Looks like we might have another 29.
Hazelbush, 29.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dalen Hazelbush.
So the question is, do we
boy from
have an
Beehive
outright
State,
second place winner or
Utah.
do we have another tie?
We got any Utah in the room?
And it looks to me like he's got 3 X's,
Yeah,
which
looks
would
like Cole.
put him as a second place, and the shoot-off will continue for third with the other 2.
There's a good look at the young Cole, who looks pretty confident. Yeah, you got it. So Cole Zoig with 30 points, and that will lock him up for second place. We still have to decide who's going to be third.
That was a great show of sport. You saw the 2 senior pro come over and shake the young kid's hand. It's the one great thing about archery. You really see archers supporting each other.
Especially those two right there.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, they understand, they love the sport, and they've been around a long time, but they know and want to promote archery to younger athletes because they are the future.
Definitely.
They're the people that are going to keep this thing going. All right, now on to these two.
Kendall.
It's Kendall trying to take a good look there, and he is funny.
Yeah, I think that division has probably the most fun of any division.
Yes, we do. Kendall Woody trying to take a good angle. Archers kept back away from the target face, so they let the officials do their job.
Which is very different from what we're used to seeing. Usually archers score their own arrows. They go up as a group, and so it's a very different format to have to be held back.
Are you surprised at the power?
27.
So 27 for Scott Starnes.
That means he didn't catch any of those.
You could tell, though, from the way they were shooting. We were watching the grimace on the face, the Scott saying, come on. You know, it's those moments in archery, Crystal, when your shot breaks. Let's talk about when the shot breaks. That's, you know, in archery talk, what are you talking about there? And And when you see Scott say that, what do you think he was looking at?
He knew the pin was not in the middle.
Yeah, when you mean the pin, we're talking about either the dot or the pin that's literally in the scope housing. And when that shot goes off and it's not in the middle, or you drop your bow arm and you see that target or the arrow impact that target, you're just going, please stop. Can I just have that moment back?
Yeah. So the question is Kendall shooting 27s or 23s, 25s? That's interesting because I see those catching that outer line. If they're 23s, that means they're definitely not touching the X-ring.
And what Crystal's talking about, of course, is the diameter of the arrow. So the maximum diameter is going to be what we call a 27 arrow, but you can go down in size from there, and it all depends on how it shoots out of your bow.
Okay, so 29. He got 2 of them.
So that'll decide that. Kendall Woody will take position number 2, and Scott Starnes will be our 3rd place finisher. So it'll be Keith Trail, Kendall Woody, and Scott Starnes on the podium for the championship compound senior division. And we know who's decided in compound young adults. Now these 2 archers, heavy hitters in the world, Linda Ochoa Anderson, Sarah Lopez. So far, 30 in the first end and 29 in the second end. And again, we're not going on cumulative score here. This is literally end to end. Who is going to flinch first between Lopez and Ochoa Anderson?
And again, both of them were out here last year. Sarah was competing for the 1st place title. Linda was going for the 3rd, 4th place title. So both of them were out under the same lights, same situation last year.
So as we continue to march our way down these matches to decide now 3rd place for the compound young adult in the championship category, and 2nd and 3rd for the women, we still have on deck championship recurve female to decide 1, 2, and 3. And then, of course, the big one, 23 shooters in the championship compound open category, all shooting for $54,000.
We see both Linda and Sarah choosing true ball release, both of them shooting a trigger style release, which means they activate the shot with their thumb. I think they might actually be shooting the exact same release.
Yeah, in different configuration. You can see Linda kind of rolls that release into her hand, has a very small post. Boy, it looks like 2X's at least for Sarah Lopez so far.
She comes off pretty quickly. That's usually a good sign for Sarah when she's feeling confident, makes good shots. Timing's pretty quick and she's able to come off the line. Linda, on the other hand, tends to shoot well when she takes her time and really aims, focus. That was a nice shot.
It was a nice shot.
Question is that first arrow, that left side, whether that caught or not.
Unofficially, the women's compound.
So let's see, that's target number 11 and 12. So we know that that's compound young adult.
Well, it looks like he could have, one of them could have an arrow out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Lopez.
Here comes the march of the striped shirts. The judges down to the bales. They'll take a close look at it. And again, at this point, most of us know what the score is going to be, but there's a lot on the line here at the Vegas Shoot 2020 in Las Vegas, Nevada, and NFAA wants to make sure that they have it just right, so there is no question whether it's the right call. That's why we have multiple judges heading down to those bales.
Lopez, 30.
Lopez with a 30, confirmed by Bruce Cull.
We see the serious look on Linda's face. She knows she needs a 30 to be still in this.
Yeah, and one thing we know about Linda is podiums aren't enough. She wants to win. So when that ship had sailed, because Paige Pierce locked this thing up with a perfect 900 score,
Anderson,
it was all about that battle.
All right. And interesting, both of these women here shot a 300 the first day, a 299 the second day, and a 300 to close out this third day. So they tied all the way through each day.
And Sarah Lopez, of course, was a couple of years ago, was the lone woman who entered the championship compound open category,
Yes.
trying to win
Yep.
over $50,000. So she's got a lot of confidence in her shot and her ability to shoot a 900, but it just didn't go. It's Vegas, Crystal. I mean, you know.
But she shot a 900 last year. She was one of 6
Yeah.
women who's done it, so.
29 for Wilkin. So Nathaniel Wilkin.
I think we might also see a 29 here, so that would keep us shooting.
Yeah, it's a top arrow. You can see it's drifted out to the left. On target number 1 and 3. Those look solid for Hazelbush.
Hazelbush, 29.
All right, we're going to do it again.
We march on. We're going for another end of scoring. Same thing.
Let's hear it for these great archers.
It's the X ring. The smallest diameter circle on this target is what counts as a 10.
And there's no limit to how many times we can do this.
A good look at Linda Ochoa Anderson when she launched that one. She didn't think it hit, but taking her time and staying in her shot, and she's able to continue this fight. We are going to change target faces because why, Crystal?
So they're shooting pretty big size arrows and creates a big hole down there, and so the judges want to make sure that they can accurately call the arrows, they can see that line, and you know, if they're not shooting inside out, they're going to be breaking that line, and makes the judging
All right,
pretty
guys,
hard.
We're back here live now. So let's talk about this. We're just shooting X shooting. If they just keep tying, we just keep going.
And like I said, I've been parts of 12-end shoot-off, so I've seen it. But it eventually starts to drag and get on your just, it wears on you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it will take you down. Like your adrenaline right now is super high, and it'll keep you up. But at some point, somebody's going to flinch, and that's the kicker in this.
That's what we're waiting for.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the size of the X ring in this, I mean, you can make a good shot and it can just barely miss. So it's not like, oh my gosh, you missed because you made a bad shot. That's not necessarily the case. It wasn't as good a shot as what you've been doing previously.
Yeah. You know, and it's in archery, that's the one thing that kind of, you don't wish ill will on somebody to miss, but you kind of do. It's like, oh, happy birthday. You know, like I get told to tell Steve Flock it's his birthday. You know, I mean, it's just one of them things. You got to hope that the other person flinches before you do.
Right.
There's a good shot of Camilo from Colombia cheering on Sarah Lopez. We see a shake of her head.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, you can see why, too,
Oh,
Sarah.
yeah.
But Linda
might have, that first one might have caught. That second one I think is definitely out. So Sarah's doing okay.
Yeah,
Sarah's got 2 out of 3 for sure. Linda's got 1 out, 1 maybe in. So she needs to get this one.
plenty of time on the clock, 56 seconds remaining. Of course, where Linda is standing to where that target face is 20 yards, just over 18 meters downrange.
That was a nice view. Linda's shooting the new RX-7s from Easton. A lot of people have marketed them as a recurve arrow, but a lot of women really like those new arrows.
And Bruce will be announcing the scores.
So now it's the march of the judges. Down to the target they go, and that last arrow by Linda Ochoa Anderson, it looked to be an error. I was really trying to wordplay that one. Now normally it's a great 10, but with the scoring we have right now,
so she needs that first one to catch.
Yeah.
If that first one catches,
I don't know. It looks like Sarah Lopez has got it for me. It looks like Sarah Lopez might have a 29, Linda with a 28.
Lopez, 29.
All right, so 29.
yeah, we
for
see
Sarah.
Linda kind of shaking her head. I think she knows. Talking about probably what her pin was doing.
Dancing around.
But we'll get official confirmation here.
Now in this particular round, when we're scoring those arrows, as long as the arrow touches that ring on that smaller diameter.
Yeah, it doesn't have to break the line. It just has to touch the line.
And Anderson, 27.
Oh, so she didn't get any of them.
Lopez,
Great shooting by both of those women, though.
All right, so Sarah Lopez will be second in the 2020 Vegas shoot for the championship compound female, and Linda Ochoa Anderson will lock up third. And of course, standing on the top of the podium will be Paige Pierce, who won this with a perfect score, 900. Has been shooting like crazy. Now we move on to the championship compound young adult.
I believe we might have
Wilkin 30.
Okay, that was quick.
I think this match might be over as well, so we'll wait for confirmation, but I believe Hazel Bush might have a 29 from the looks of it.
Yeah, the top. Look
That
at target
left
number
one.
That
Yeah.
left one looks like it's out the top, as we like to say. Sound like proper English, but out the top is part of it. You can see the look on Hazel Bush's face, left part of your screen.
And Hazel Bush 29.
So that's decided. Unfortunately for Hazel Bush, he'll stand off the podium, but Wilkin will take third place. Great shooting, though, as they went pretty deep. 4 ends of competition to decide that one. That's great. So that concludes our first round of podiums in championship compound categories. Those celebrations happening later on after, of course, we have our premier match with 23 shooters competing for $54,000 in the championship compound open class, which of course is open to everybody.
All right, so now we're coming back out. We're going to have the recurve because, as we mentioned, this is for all 3 podium spots. So we're shooting for first, second, and third out there. How are these folks feeling? Coming out, they've been on the big stage. They're all international archers.
Yeah.
So they're probably used to similar
Well, the thing
formats
that's
to this.
interesting to me is you don't see this a lot. Is every one of them is going to podium,
Right.
So you're guaranteed you're going to get a podium.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a little release there. It's not a ton,
Right.
Because you still want to win, but you know if you're going to walk away with a check and get a podium, it's a big deal,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
from this event. Yeah, for sure, I agree. It's a huge weight off your shoulders. I mean, I remember, and you watch it sometimes in a gold medal match versus a bronze medal match. It's a whole different aspect because in
right.
the gold medal, you know you're on the top 3.
Yeah.
Bronze, you got to fight for that third.
How about that? Yeah. Well, let's go to the archer introductions out here on the floor.
Of Mexico. And Elena Richter of Germany. Please give them a round of applause.
Well, Crystal, here we are in the championship.
Michelle Cruppen making a significant impact on the indoor circuit this year. Ida Rahman, the Olympic silver.
This is your class, the championship recurve female. I know you're sitting here, but let's talk about the level of shooter in this as we decide the champion in this one.
So all 3 of these women shot great. What's interesting is how they got here. It was a little different each day. So Michelle shot probably the most consistent of all 3, shot a 291, 291, 289. Aida shot a 290, 292, 289. And Elena shot very different than the other 2. She shot an 88, a 288, a 289, and then came out today with a 294.
Wow.
So she really was on fire today. After last night we saw her in the World Cup Finals shooting, I believe she finished 3rd. She was definitely in the bronze medal match. So she was shooting really well last night, carried over into today we saw. So whether that continues this evening will be really interesting to see. But all 3 of these women, great shooters.
This is the Vegas Shoot 2020 here in Las Vegas, Nevada, as we are getting ready to watch the championship recurve female. The decision, pretty full house on a day of, well, really of wrapping up shooting for all categories. Over 3,800 competitors. What you're watching now is the championship division, but we have shooting for everyone, all ages, all divisions, all types of shooting, from barebow to what we're looking at now, the
Olympic recurve style of bow to obviously the compound. So now, Crystal, the target faces were 20 yards downrange, just like we were on the compound side, but are the target faces the same as what we saw in compound?
So the target faces are identical, but what's interesting for these recurve shooters is the 10 ring here in Vegas is what the 10 ring is everywhere for recurve. And so this first end of score, they're going to get practice, I assume, just like the compounders had, but that first end of score is going to be just like what they had all week, what they have at World Archery, what they have anywhere they go. But when we go to that X-ring 10 scoring, that's something recurvers are not familiar with.
As well as some of these recurvers weren't familiar with the fact that they get some practice, a practice end.
And what's interesting this year is it's an Olympic year. 2 of these archers are from Germany, and Germany has already qualified an Olympic team. So both of these archers, I believe, will be going to Tokyo, whereas Mexico just has a single spot at this point. So we see, you know, it's a little bit different indoor season for Olympic archers. So again, we're going to see arrows spread a little bit further from the middle than what we see in compound. We're going to see much smaller arrows. We see, it was a great shot there of her arrow. It's what we see compounders typically shoot outdoors. Recurvers, especially the women, we don't see them really switching their arrows indoors. They're going to shoot their same outdoor arrows.
What did you shoot in this one?
I shot exactly what Ada's shooting right there, X10s, Easton X10s.
And of course, there is that talk that it is an Olympic year, and shooters didn't want to, you know, switch back and forth.
Well, as these ladies head down range to retrieve their arrows, we got a chance
to really take a look at the form that these women have right now. Now, here's the thing, Crystal, looking at them, you know, you have teammates obviously from Germany, but it seems to be, to me, a little lighthearted considering that this Vegas championship is on the line.
Vegas for recurve is a little different.
Okay, go ahead and explain that.
Well, this really is a compound tournament. We talk about prize money, and you look at the winners of this championship recurve female, I think it's around $3,500. And in a couple minutes, we're going to see the pro men, and it's $54,000. A little different. So again, we don't see all the top shooters come out for this in recurve. A lot of the Korean shooters don't come to this tournament. Again, especially in Olympic year, this isn't the priority. The Olympics are a much bigger tournament, whereas compound, we heard Sergio earlier talking about, this is the tournament for a compound archer.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And also there is the, you know, the threat of coronavirus, and so there were some people abroad who canceled to come here on the Korean side and obviously on the Chinese side as well for their shooters, and that thinned out the recurve field ever so slightly. Just a few people didn't show up, but
just enough to help me make the finals last night.
Yeah, in World Archery indoor finals. The recurve women, by the way, in this one, the championship recurve women shooting for $5,500 for first, $2,250 for second, and $1,750 for third. So the scoring will be regular scoring, which means 10 and X rings count the same. And then if there is a tie between whoever, either the 3 of them or 2 of them, then we go to the next round, which will be only X.
Which for recurve again is just nuts. Unless you're Brady Ellison.
20 yards down range, 40-centimeter target face, 2 minutes on the clock to shoot 3 arrows. Plenty of time, almost always, for recurve archers.
Yeah, so unlike compound that you see them really taking the time to aim and settle into the shot, you see recurve, it's a lot more movement. It's continuous movement all the way through, so it's a much quicker shot typically.
We're seeing some really good arrows so far, although Richter, you can see a drift left into the 9
ring. So she definitely has a 9. I had the pleasure of shooting with her in Berlin this year.
Aida Roman, Olympian.
Silver medalist in London.
Long hold.
but drills.
Yeah.
So definitely we have a 30 on the far left with Michelle. So again, it's the Big Ten. So she's for sure in still, and Elena, unfortunately, is going to be for sure out, regardless of this third arrow. The question is, what about Aida?
Aida Roman needs to shoot another X to stay in it, with a chance to win it. If she shoots a 9, Michelle's going to win it, and then we could go to a shoot-off for second place. So much to be decided on these last 2 arrows.
Mm-hmm.
There's one.
Oh, did you see that? Her eyeballs?
Mm-hmm.
She looked over at the clock and then back at the target.
And that was a 8-9
Wow.
liner.
So I have never seen that before at full draw.
Wow. Also, what's unique here, too, is when usually, like in a World Archery event, which a lot of these competitors shoot, you're going to have the ability to have a coach in your box.
Exactly.
Especially in center stage. They don't here.
No, and I'm guessing that's what happened is, again, in a finals match, too, you usually only have 20 seconds. So that's what these women are used to, that 20 seconds. They got to get their shot off quick. They don't have time to let down. And
it looks like this thing's going to be decided in one end.
For first, but I think there might be a tie for second.
Might be.
30.
Yeah, so Michelle Kroppen comes up with a 30. Outstanding score. That's your archer on the right, and you can see she's taking a deep breath.
And again, she was the most consistent of the 3 over the 3 days.
Notebook.
Yeah, so you'll see she's probably plotting her arrows or writing their arrow score down. It's a very common amount on recurve shooters to really pay attention to every arrow they shoot.
Now Aida Roman from Mexico. You wait her scores.
Looks like a 29 to me.
29.
Yep. So I think we're going to have a continued shoot-off for second place. But we'll wait to hear confirmation.
And Richter, 29.
Okay.
Give a big round of applause to your champion.
So Michelle Kroppen.
Michelle Kroppen
is your champion. Will stand on top of the podium, and we still have got to decide second and third place between Elena Richter and Aida Roman.
Second and third, will it be Aida Roman, the Olympic vice champion of 2012, or will it be Elena Richter?
Does that take any of the pressure off, you think? You know, like, okay, well, unfortunately, I didn't win, so now I have to shoot for second place. Does it free up the nerves, do you think, Crystal?
It's hard to say. Some people, it might intensify the nerves because they really want that second place, because second to third place, the money really drops off.
There's your winner.
I think. So Rio, let's talk about that. We just had a winner.
Yeah.
But
it's not over. Yeah, and so I don't know how, like, and I'll be honest, it's really cool the new stage we have and all the lights and everything else. But I will tell you, the first time I won was in the Riviera, and the crowd come down. I never even got to pull my own arrows. And so it's really a different feeling. And so to me, I'm not sure how different this would be, where she won and you could see the emotions and she's, oh, come. But there is not the true, real big, everybody's excited celebration, because there's still arrows to be fired. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and I said something to Rio. I said, you know, it's weird that they let her pull her arrows. I mean,
there'll be no
now-
pictures of her arrows in the target.
Yeah, so if they're going to do it, now she's got to go back and put them back in. Yeah.
So it's a whole different aspect.
Let's go back out to the line here.
That's because the string is coming in clear in to contact their shirt. So keeps it consistent in how it comes off the shirt, nice and smooth. We also see them with arm guards on their bow arm, and that's because the string, again, is coming much closer to their arm, and it hurts if it hits that arm.
Oh, it certainly does. So it looks like a 10 for Richter and a 9 for Aida Roman.
But again, recurve 3 arrows, a lot can happen, so it's not abnormal to see a 9 out of these shooters.
Upper left-hand part of your screen is the score. On your third screen device, might be a little small, and we have a reason for that, because we have a lot of archers getting to the line after this competition in the championship compound open.
So it looks like Elena has 2 10s from this view.
Ooh.
Another 9, so.
It kind of looked like that actually on the release. Aida usually has a very crisp
Yes,
release,
yes,
and on that,
that
one there was
wasn't
a
a
little bit
normal
of
shot.
Yeah.
No, it looks like she's got a 30 to me.
Yeah, it looks like Richter might have a 30.
Oh, wait,
but
we're on little 10. We're on little 10, so that changed everything. Hard to think of recurve with that little 10. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we apologize to
So
the audience.
yeah,
It is
all
so
3
hard.
9s and
Yep.
all 3 9s, I think. Yep. So I think we're tied up at 27.
27 apiece. That's right. So the second end, and this is a couple of things with recurve that we don't see. One
Never.
is right, not cumulative scoring.
Yes.
And
Yep.
set system scoring, and the tiny little 2 centimeter ring in the middle, the X ring, is now the 10.
Yeah.
So hard to hit. So hard to hit.
And we see, I mean, both of these women are very accomplished archers, and
Yep.
neither one of them hit a single X that end. A little different than what we saw on the compound side.
So really what you're looking at is, other than that 2 centimeter ring dead smack in the middle, the rest of the yellow all counts as a 9. So there's a lot of room to play with there. So 27 for Aida Roman. And for Richter,
And we see what a shift that is. If we were at Big Ten scoring, this would have been a 30 to a 28. Or 28. Instead, it's both 27. So really big shift. I mean, Elena shot a much tighter group, but doesn't matter when we're talking little 10s.
great catch, Crystal, on the scoring. So another end, same score, same type of scoring. The X ring, which is now just the 10 ring for this round. And Crystal, this is what you're looking for all the time. It's all about that form with recurve archery. And what are you seeing from these two?
You see a nice clean release. Both their hands are going, following their face back, and looks really nice. Their bow arms are steady. So unlike compound that has a release, a mechanical device, it's the fingers. How that string comes off that fingers is crucial on where it hits.
It just seems like there's so many variables
there
when
is.
shooting a recurve bow.
That's why Brady's 900 is just so incredible.
And what Crystal's talking about is Brady Ellison from the United States did something no one's ever done before here in Las Vegas.
Not 1, not 2, but 3 300s.
900 for Brady Ellison. All right, so back to this match. Championship recurve female finals. The champion has been decided. Richter with the letdown. Roman with a 9. Now it's in the 10 ring if you normally watch, but it is a 9 because it didn't hit that X. So Aida Roman back to full draw, trying to find that middle. It almost feels like at this point, if someone, just one, finds the middle, it might be the deciding factor for second place. Roman with a letdown. So that launch and just high.
Yep. And the question becomes, do they really change their shot to try to hit that X, or do they try to stay consistent with their normal? That's really comes into play. And what we see here, I'm actually just pulling up the results.
Oh, look at that. So
oh, she
close
caught
for
it.
Roman. It looks like she may have caught it. All she has to do is just touch that outside line and gets that higher point value.
And over the course of the 3 days, I just looked it up, she actually shot 3 more X's. So barely anything, but 3 more X's than Elena.
An X here would definitely seal second place. As it looks like Richter shot 2 9s so far. And nope, it's going to be a 9 for Roman. And she's asking some advice.
So she needs an X here to keep this shoot off going.
At least that's what we think. I mean, we have to wait for those judges' call, but it sure looked like
yeah,
Roman's.
I think it's pretty solid. Nope.
Okay, so It looked like Richter didn't quite catch it, I mean, which is so heartbreaking in a way because it's his recurve. There's so many variables involved with getting that arrow down range, and those are 3 solid 10s.
Yeah. Well, again,
normally,
again,
but it's a 9
that first
right
arrow,
now.
she shot the 30, where Roman did not
Yeah.
in Big Ten recurve scoring. So she was definitely more consistent, but it doesn't matter. We're going for those X's.
And it's that arrow they're looking at right now that is going to be the deciding factor between 2nd and 3rd place. You've been on this line. What do you think they're talking about?
It's hard to say. Can be anything. Can be their pets.
Yeah, right.
Roman, 28.
Yeah.
So she did get that X.
She
so
did.
That's crucial.
Yeah. And we can see from Richter's arrows, not much of a look needs. You know, it doesn't have to be an extended look at this point.
No, no. The only one that was close was that bottom left one.
Target number 1. But again, with shooting those micro diameter arrows, those Easton X10s, they actually give you a really nice, clean hole to look at. And so I think we're going to get a 27 for confirmation.
And 3rd place, Richter with a 27. Eleanor Richter, give her a big round of applause. And 2nd, Ida Romaine.
And so, ladies and gentlemen,
So there you go. Bruce called it. Ida Roman, 2nd place, and Elena Richter in 3rd place. What a way to do it here. Championship recurve female, done and dusted for the Vegas Shoot 2020 here in Las Vegas, Nevada. As we take a look at some of those highlights and beautiful executing shots on the Olympic recurve, as we like to call it. And we could see some of these athletes in the Olympics later on in the summer.
Yeah, I don't know officially German national rules, but I believe both of these German women will be shooting in Tokyo, as their team did qualify a full team spot.
Well, those matches were fun to watch, and we decided a champion. But our final match.
This is where things really get interesting.
Yeah, and this has been an entire year of anticipation for all of those athletes who didn't make it into the finals of the Vegas Shoot 2019. How many were going to make it? So much conversation about who was going to be able to shoot their way into our next match. Every year, NFAA, the Vegas Shoot, ups the purse. This one, $54,000 for the next athletes brought to the field.
And that's not counting sponsor money.
All right, guys. So here comes the big stage now. $54,000 coming up here on the line. The whole stadium just went dark. What are these guys feeling? We can see them lined up behind us back here. They're waiting to go out there. How are they feeling?
It's the amped up part. Like, you know, if it's your first time, you're like, what's going on? What's happening? What are we going to do? If it's your 3rd or 4th time, you just don't know. In fact, it was kind of comical a few years ago when Dave was the lucky dog, and we went out there and some guy turned and said, hey, what's going to happen out there? And Dave's like, you're really asking me? I haven't been out here in 10 years. Like, so it's a whole different aspect of you're just unknown.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
All right, here we go. Let's get the introductions.
Please welcome the competitors for the grand final here in Las Vegas. This is the men's and women's open compound championship final round. And here come our competitors. Please welcome Christopher Perkins of Canada.
Chris Perkins, the 2018 Vegas champion and one of our lucky dog competitors that made it. He's our #1 qualifier, Crystal, 84 X's.
Jesse, the Freak Show Broadwater, representing Florida.
Jesse Broadwater, 2012 Vegas champ, and his 13th 900, which is 2nd overall all-time. 83 X's for the Freak Show, and he's trying to win it again.
Representing the Beehive State, Kyle Douglas.
It's his first trip to the championship showdown. Kyle Douglas has been on fire as of late, and he'll roll into this one with a perfect 983 X's.
Representing the Empire State, Louis Price.
Louis Price, national champion last year in USA Archery. First trip to the championship showdown, and he arrives with 82 X's.
Representing the Netherlands, Mr. Perfect, world champion, Mike Schlisser.
What can you say about this guy? Two-time Vegas champ, 2014 and 17, reigning Hyundai Archery World Cup champ. This guy has got it all.
Representing Arkansas, please welcome Richard Bowen.
Richard Bowen, his third consecutive trip to this Vegas shoot, and the wildlife biologist looking to capitalize his third time and win it all.
Representing Tennessee, Chance Bobeff.
For Chance Bobeff, he's been here time and time again. He's won this 3 times, 2003, 2004, 2007, his 15th 900, and Chance is looking to shake off the past and finally get another one here in 2020.
Representing North Carolina, Justin Hanna.
Justin Hanna, third trip to the championship shoot down. He does it 78 X's, and this 22-year-old, well, he won $10,000 2 days
Representing
ago.
Indiana, Michael Holbert Jr.
Holbert Jr., first trip to the championship shoot down, won the compound flights back in 2019, and he is 19 years old, and his heart has to be pounding on center stage.
Representing Florida, Jacob Marlowe.
Fan favorite Jacob Marlowe, his second trip to the championship shoot down. And for Marlowe, he's looking for redemption. He thinks every time he walks on stage, he needs to win.
Representing Wisconsin, Dan McCarthy.
Good old Danny McCarthy, his third trip to the championship shoot down. Reigning ASA champion, and he's looking for a good one.
Representing Colorado, Jacob Pettit.
Young Jacob Pettit, his first trip to the championship shoot down. Already has a resume. Young adult NFA indoor national champion.
Representing Pennsylvania, Levi Morgan.
What can be said about this guy? 32 years of age from Pennsylvania, 8th 900 at Vegas in the shoot down in 08, 09, and 2012 to 15.
Lee Gibbs.
Lee Gibbs, quite a story, 40 years old. It's his first trip to the championship shoot down. He started shooting here in 1998.
Representing the great state of Ohio, Travis Tracy.
Travis Tracy, another first trip for him. 2019 NFA Indoor National Shoot-Off to his resume, looking to build on it.
Representing Indiana, Dane Johnson.
One of my favorite young archers at 18 years old. His second 900 of Vegas, previous score, won him the Young Adult Championship in 2018.
Representing Italy, Sergio Pagni.
Sergio, our first Lucky Dog winner when it was $50,000, defending Vegas champion, and he could take it all.
Representing Puerto Rico, Juan Pizarro.
Juan Rene Pizarro, first trip to the championship shoot down, and has been quiet ever since he got on the stage.
Representing Michigan, Jeremiah Starks.
Jesse Starks, 33 years old, his second consecutive trip to the championship shoot down.
Representing Finland, please welcome Mikko Jutilainen.
Jutilainen, 30 years of age, his second consecutive trip to this shoot down as well.
Representing Maryland, here is Shane Wills.
72X has got him here. It's his third trip to the championship shoot down. He's done it in 04 and 06, so it's been a while.
He's not in Kansas anymore, but he represented. It's James Ball.
Ball, 39 years old. Finally, his first trip to Vegas and his first trip to the championship shoot down.
And please welcome the Lucky Dog, from the great state of New York, the Empire State, this is Glenn Bordwell.
899, he shot 1 point down, 73 X's, his second trip to the championship shoot down. Beat 43 other competitors in the Lucky Dog to stand on this stage.
Wow. Same number as last year. How many of you have been here more than 5 times? 10 times? 12 times? Chance, put your hand down. 15 times, right? Unbelievable. Congratulations to all of you. We got to do a photo op right now. Where do you want them, Dean? Straight ahead on this line. The shooting line. Move ahead to the shooting line. And then turn and face the crowd. Give me that. Okay. All right, boys, now stay on the line, but turn around and face Dean with the camera. All right, at this time, you can all go put your targets up, and when you get back, the rules will be read to you. Make sure you got your target number and your name tags are coming out at the same time.
Gentlemen, once your target has been mounted and your name tag has been applied and you return to the line, you will shoot 1 practice cannon.
All right, we're in. All right, so they're hanging up their targets now. Are they putting them in a specific spot? What are they trying to do?
Most of them are trying to make sure they got a flat spot, because what's, you know, when these bells have been shot this whole weekend, they kind of get a little rounded, and so if you go on the edges, you know, so you're just trying to find a good flat spot that has fresh, we'll say, canvas on it, so you don't have to fight into somebody else's holes. But other than that, that's kind of about it. Getting a spot that you like, just make sure everything just fits you, just what you normally do.
With these bales that we're shooting, you can have some of these arrows go in and kick out.
I'd say you're also trying to find a firm spot that'll hold an arrow straight and true. Because, I mean, you can. I mean, I saw one today that Steve Anderson did a little video of his arrow, and he could literally go like this and wiggle it around in the whole 10 ring. So it's a lot of notch. I mean, you see the targets are different aspects. Some guys like this a little higher, some like a little lower. So you get a lot of different aspects of the whole thing.
Right, right. Who do you like? Any early predictions?
You know, when I'm predicting Vegas, there's 2 things. I either look at a guy that is on fire or someone that just they don't even think about. Because it's like, well, even the year Alex won, I called it after the first day. I said, a guy like Alex will win this tournament. And Tate Morgan goes, how did you call that? And I says, because they don't really think and realize what the whole moment is.
Right.
You know, like a guy like Levi's been out there how many times? He knows what it is. He knows that rush. And it's almost like a drug addict. You love that feeling, that euphoria that like we talked about, Dane saying he had to sit down, his legs were jello, and Louis Price breaking down in tears. It's such a big euphoria that it's something. And now, some of the guys that don't know, they're going to walk out in there and just shoot like, hey, I don't know. And the guys that shoot really good, or a guy that is just railing, he's going to be it. So it's, to make a pick is always so hard, and those are the 2 aspects I look at.
All right, let's get to the action here. Practice.
Okay, so Crystal, we're in that situation now where these shooters have been in the practice area, which is actually not too far from where we are, but lighting's totally different. So how important are these 3 arrows?
It's crucial. You really have to get up here and shoot the same shot you're going to shoot under pressure. If you are relaxed now and then you tighten up next end, you're going to hit different. So it's really crucial you get out here and shoot that same under pressure shot.
Now, the interesting bit about being here is we have these 23 athletes. We have a crowd of a few thousand people behind them. You've been on center stage plenty of time in World Archery events, some other large events around the world, but isn't it possible when you're talking about nerves, of course you're going to feel them, but you kind of get lost in the crowd a little bit in this first couple of ends, don't you?
Definitely. I can tell you, I've had finals matches where I make it the whole match before I realize, oh, wait, we're done. You know, you're so zoned in, just looking at that target and focused on that 10 ring.
Here's our lucky dog, Glenn Boardwell, who, like I mentioned before, made his way through. So one arrow dropped, or 1 point value, meaning you got to shoot all 10s. There's 90 arrows with a maximum point value of 10 each. That's 900. He shot 899 points with 73 X's. To give you an idea, for those that shot perfect, he actually out-X'd Utalainen and Wills and Ball as well. But he dropped that one arrow. The lucky dog, though, this is something that NFAA added because it's like, hey, you missed one, everybody shoots off, and who's the one person that gets to come here? Lucky dog is exclusive to here, and it's something very special.
And you have to.
I'm so excited. It took a while, but finally got it. Can't wait for tonight. Hopefully it'll go good tonight. It's either first or last, so we'll see how it goes. One last chance. I'm still in it. Don't give up.
What do you think, Crystal? Now, here's the thing about the lucky dog, though. So we have 23 competitors here. Let's say the lucky dog shoots his way all the way up to second place. If he loses, he goes back down to 20.
He falls all the way back down to that $1,000.
Yeah, exactly. So it's win it or bin it, as they say in racing. So for Glenn Boardwell, he's going to win the $54,000, or he's going to find himself in 23rd with $1,000 plus a bonus for actually making this shoot-off. But still, to be center stage, a lot of these archers, you can see they wear shirts. There's a variety of manufacturers that are represented here. I mean, really, there's Martin, there's Matthews, there's Elite, there is Hoyt, PSE, Prime. I mean, there's just a host of incredible bows that were introduced here in 2020 or 2020 bows. Almost all the major manufacturers made a brand new target bow for 2020, and there was talk of how many people would actually make this.
All archers' placement in this competition, other than first, second, or third, will be determined by the order in which they drop out of the shoot-off.
So rules are being
the same end, those archers will be placed based on total
told to the crowd. Same rules we've heard before. First end of scoring is going to be what we call normal scoring for us, which is there's a 10 ring, there's an X ring. Yeah, exactly. There's a 10 ring, there's an X ring. They count the same. X's are obviously used as tiebreakers, and that's why we saw from Chris Perkins, he was the #1 qualifier coming in. They shot the same score, but Perkins had 84 X's to Jesse Broadwater's 83 and Kyle Douglas's 83.
So a lot of these guys out here, you know, are top sponsored shooters, but there's also quite a few that probably aren't, and this is their chance to really gain the attention of some of those sponsors out there. See a lot of clicking of sights there after that first arrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to practice, and it's a whole nother thing to actually understand and know at this moment we're scoring.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing shooting archery myself, how much different it is in those practice arrows versus when the judge comes over the PA and says, first arrow for score.
And everybody reacts a little bit differently. We heard Paige Pierce, who shot that 900 this morning in the women's category. She was talking about it wasn't her arms that, usually that's what shakes for her when she gets nervous, is it's her arms. It was her legs on that final arrow that were just about to give out on her, she said.
You saw on the right part of your screen, Christopher Perkins, when he released his last arrow, he just kind of gave a big grimace. So what you have, too, is a crowd that's looking around at different archers because they're invested in that particular archer.
So on screen, it looks tentatively like we have two people with 9s, Louis Price and Ball. Looks so far like everyone might be clean, but obviously we'll wait for official judge scores.
Now take place, regular scoring.
All right, so we have 20 yards, the distance obviously down to the target, so archers will go to that place. They're going to stand on the line. They're going to back up some of those archers. It used to be a little bit closer, but so they get to stand on that line. Judges will start their march down the targets, looking at each. Different scoring for the Vegas shoot. And we're calling them out pretty quickly. So Christopher Perkins, he'll kick us off with a 30. So everyone has to match that score if they're going to stay in this competition. If they don't, they're out.
I always say, oh, there's some rewards. There is a huge reward. With the 3 judges rolling, to know whether you have a close one or not and be able to tell, it's a big relief, you know? And once you hear that 30 you're in, it's a relief. In actuality, you get to sit there for a minute and watch the other guys sweat it out. Yeah. You know, you're like, oh, I'm good. Let's see who else got to sweat out. That's like all honesty, when I shoot, I put my target on top at first so that I finish on bottom so that I can put my 3 arrows in and anybody has to look and see and know that I've cleaned it. Yeah. They have to match it.
You got to match it.
Well, and it's tough. I mean, you wait, like Rio said, you know, when you put your target up on top versus the bottom, it's hard to go up there and shoot your 3 arrows knowing that there's guys celebrating back there that they've shot their 900, you know, so.
Well, looks like all 3 of those are in, so we had a tentative 9, but those look like solid Big Tens.
25-year-old Louis Price is clean. He's good. He goes to the next round. The New York resident.
His family actually owns a bow shop in New York.
2019 U.S. National and U.S. Open champion. Mike Schlusser, Mr. Perfect, who won the World Archery Indoor with a perfect.
Wait, who's he?
Schlusser, 30.
Yeah, he's that guy. Cool as a cucumber.
Won Vegas at about 18 years old or something like that the first time.
Something like that. But last night in World Archery, won the gold medal with a perfect 150, and that's shooting that baby 10, the X ring in the middle. Richard Bowen.
30.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing for Compound going into the shoot-off is we have a lot of archers who are used to the World Archery, that little X scoring, but we also have a lot of archers that are used to this Big Ten Vegas scoring. So how they handle that change to the little 10 is always very interesting to see.
I don't think there's a question about Chance Bobef.
Nope, 3 X's.
So we're on to archer number 8, Justin Hanna. We're 7 archers clean. And Hanna, 22 years old, out of Asheville, North Carolina.
Hanna, 30.
Our ASA known pro shooter of the year from 2018. Fort Wayne, Indiana's Michael Hulbert Jr. next, 19 years old.
Hulbert, 30.
It's something pretty impressive. We see he won flights last year and decided to jump into the Championship Open. You don't see that a lot. You see a lot of people that just like to play it safe in the flights. So good for him stepping it up into this.
Jacob Marlowe doesn't look happy for some reason, but he's clean. He's in. So far we're telling, oh, wait a second, is that a smirk on Marlowe's face?
You never know with him.
Multi-time ASA champ. I mean, just a straight-up shooter. 24-year-old Marlowe.
He likes to entertain the crowd if you can.
How about Dan McCarthy?
3 X's.
Ay. You want to talk about archery is my life. 30. Focused. McCarthy stays in it. Broke Levi Morgan's streak of ASA Shooter of the Year. He's the reigning ASA Shooter of the Year in the men's pro category, and just an incredible archer, and even at his age continues to get better and better. Jacob Pettit up next.
30.
He's clean. The 21-year-old shooting 13 years already out of Colorado. Looking a little deer in the headlights stunned there for a moment.
I think you should do your hair like that, Greg.
If I had hair. Then there's this guy. Nobody wants to win this more than Levi.
He's had opportunities.
And he
slipped through the cracks.
Yes, it has. And he knows it. And he thinks about it. So Levi Morgan, our 13th place qualifier, shakes off the unlucky 13 and is able to shoot 30 points. It's at target number 1, that arrow there for Gibbs. Got it. Yeah.
Deep
breath. Big sigh of relief. Whale Tails Archery, Lee Gibbs, just an incredible story. He won the 1998 National Championship in the bow hunter freestyle. He's two-time record holder in bow hunter freestyle.
Tracy, 30.
Travis Tracy out of Ohio.
Johnson, 30.
Dane Johnson. Big Tree in with a 30. He's tall. Big boy. Sergio looking good.
Pawnee, 30.
And of course, Sergio's won it a couple times in his career, including that big one when we jumped to our first $50,000 purse a couple of years ago and got on that chariot. Fire shooting out of it was spectacular.
Pizarro, 30.
Jean-Rene Pizarro out of Puerto Rico remains in it. Now to Jesse Starks.
Starks, 30.
He's good.
So we've seen 30 after 30 after 30, but inner 10, a lot of these shooters would be out right now, so can't wait for that next end.
Jesse Starks, of course, made the shoot-off last year. And
Jutalainen, 30.
Jutalainen in with a 30. Mikko, of course, from Finland. Makes the trip here as 59 countries represented in the Vegas shoot.
Wills, 30.
Shane Wills. So far we're 21. We're 21, but things are going to get very interesting in this next round.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to start seeing a field drop off pretty quickly.
Ball, 30.
James Ball. Incredible story for James Ball. He's a wind turbine technician. He's been shooting for 23 years, but he just shoots locally. And then he has kids and couldn't get out of the house and finally was able to make it. Now our lucky dog.
And Boardwell, 30.
Everybody made it through.
Yeah, everybody's
still. Retrieve your arrows, guys.
So these guys have now shot 93
Everybody's still
clean
in action,
arrows.
Bruce.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And who knows how many they shot in practice here as well. As when you shoot the championship categories, there's a special VIP practice area that's open 24 hours a day just for shooters of this level. One of the advantages of shooting in the championship compound open category. And by the way, when we talk about championship compound open, Crystal, we're not just talking about that it's open for male or female, is it?
It's open to anybody. Recurve could shoot it. Older, younger, no age limit, no any limits. That's why it's truly an open class.
You could shoot it with an open bow, meaning the bow, the compound bows we see here with scopes and with lenses and with stabilizers, or you could choose to shoot it with a bow hunter setup with no lens and a pin.
This time,
just depends. It's just open to everyone. You pay your entry fee, and you get to line up against some of the world's best and shoot for $54,000. Intensity in this arena just ramped up.
So who's gonna blink first?
Yeah.
So Starks has one out.
Yeah, Starks has one out. You can see people just taking a look. It's only 20 yards downrange, but sometimes you want to get that closer look with his binoculars.
And again, all weekend, they've been just worried about hitting that big 10, and suddenly it's a mind shift change when you go to that little 10.
If you're watching this at home on a television screen, left part of your screen are what is unofficially the arrow call for our archers. Looks like Shane Wills with an unofficial 9. Jesse Starks, you saw that. Down towards the bottom. Ooh. And we're looking at an unofficial Mike Schlusser at a 29. Could Mr. Perfect be out of this one? There's Jesse Stark.
Shane Wills with a tentative 9.
Mikko Uutilainen having a fan club here in Las Vegas. So they will move to their, what would you call it, observation line, I suppose?
I guess. It's a great thing about Vegas. You bring different countries in, you bring different styles of shooting in. It brings in people from everywhere. And we see the guys all bringing out their binos.
Yeah, everybody taking a look not only at their own, but also at others. All right, so Christopher Perkins, 30. We saw Mike Schlusser in the middle of that pack with his binos out, taking a look at his arrows. So Christopher Perkins.
So Broadwater looks like he's safe unless that first left arrow is out. But
Broadwater, 30.
Yeah. Broadwater was able to catch that. He's got a 30. He's in.
He's disappeared off screen. I don't know where he
He actually ran down to grab his binos from his buddy Shane Wills, I believe, because we think Shane might be out of this one. There's Jesse back into frame.
This arrow of Douglas is in or out. It's hard to tell. Looks like it could be out.
Douglas, 30.
No, they're calling it in. You saw the breath of relief.
Since Jesse was off screen, here's another look at Jesse Broadwater as he is in, as Christopher Perkins trying to have some fun with the freak show. Of course, Jesse has no idea. There's no screen in front of him.
No.
He'll get to look at this coverage later on. And
so that looks good to me, but
maybe
we'll wait and see. Oh, find out for sure. Again, it's harder to tell. Arrows on camera can definitely look different than how they look in person. That's why judges will look at an arrow from more than one angle, make sure that they're seeing it correctly.
and it's that one, number 3. Mike's been shooting 23 diameter arrows all weekend.
29.
Ooh.
So Mr. Perfect takes a seat after a good couple of runs here in the U.S., and you'll see the entire crowd roll over to Mike Schlusser, who's garners tons of respect in this industry.
But remember, of everybody that gets eliminated this round, he will be the top finisher because he had the highest X count.
30.
Richard Bowen moves on. That's a young man having some fun.
Guess that's how they break the nerves.
Yeah.
Ooh, is Chance out too? That's a close one.
And this would be just another heartbreaker for Chance Bobev.
He's been to the shoot-off more times than anyone in history.
15 times.
Just crazy. Every year. I mean, every year you see him here.
He's won it 3.
Tied for the most wins of any archers.
Yep.
I think there's 3 of them tied with 3. So
I believe you're right. Real
race to
Wild.
4.
Mm-hmm.
Can tell who are the veterans and who are the newbies down there, can't you?
You certainly can. He's just like another day in the office.
Bobev, 30.
Ooh, he caught it. He caught it. As you can see, he's happy about that. Big sigh of relief. Live to see another end.
So, got another close one?
Yeah, we certainly do. And I'm going to tell you from here, it doesn't look like that target number 3 arrow is in to me.
That was a great view, though, of the arrow holes and why we need to change the targets. You saw that big hole there where the line would be. So it's going to make the judges' job a lot tougher. So I'm pretty sure they're going to make him hang a new target.
And of course, Justin Hanna, we had a new thing this year where on anybody who shot a perfect score in the championship class was eligible on Friday to shoot for $10,000. And then again on Saturday, and Justin Hanna won that $10,000 by an inside-out X, very similar to the one you got. Oh, and they called it a 30.
Wow.
All right. So he's in. I'm wrong. So now we'll go to Holbert Jr.
And those look solid to me.
Holbert, 30.
Yeah, easy call. Having a lot of fun, this young man. Enjoying his first. Yeah, he looks all serious there, but he wasn't a moment ago when he was behind Chance.
You're always serious when your arrows are being called.
Yeah. Jacob, as he likes to be called. He leaves off the Lonnie a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, graduated from college last year, so now full-time into archery.
And that looks solid. 3X McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
McCarthy, 30.
You knew that one. One of the nicest guys in archery when you're around him, and always willing to extend his knowledge to, it doesn't matter what level you're shooting, but always willing to teach people about archery. Jacob Pettit. Looks like he's got some good ones in there.
Yep.
Shooting those big gold tip 27s. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, this is where the crowd is
Levi
groaning.
is out. He didn't even catch the Big Ten on that one, so.
Oh, and he can hear it from the crowd too, because he is a fan favorite. There is absolutely
Morgan,
no
27.
A look on his face said it all.
And I'm going to tell you something. I talked to Levi Morgan earlier this weekend, Crystal, and he said he had not prepared for one Vegas shoot as hard as he's prepared this year. And he was shooting lights out at home. He came here and he was struggling and struggling and struggling. Gibbs is also out with a 29. A good run for Lee Gibbs. The 40-year-old.
Now, this looks solid. 3X's for Tracy.
Tracy, 30.
You know you shoot it, but you just want it official.
You got to
don't
hear
you?
that.
Yeah.
You never know. Looks good.
Dane Johnson is just
Johnson, 30.
lighting it up right now.
Looks like he's ready to go camping or something there.
Mm-hmm. He won ASA Fort Benning in 2019, a very talented young archer. 18 years old, been shooting 10 years. And then there's this guy. I shoot, I win. I shoot, I win. It's okay.
I shoot again.
Sergio Pagni. Another one of those just great people in archery, right?
Definitely.
Just awesome. Always looking to promote Italians to come over here and shoot this Vegas tournament.
Yeah, he's done a lot for the country. Really helped improve the women's compound over in Italy. Helped the other men. Just really raised the game over there.
The pride of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Jean-Rene Pizarro trying to move on.
And they're looking at that bottom target pretty closely.
If you've been following archery for a while, he was the silver medalist in Arizona Cup in 2010. And he got it. Pizarro, by the way, his resume, he was the first archer to participate in both categories at Pan American Games, compound in 2019, and recurve in 2015. So unfortunately for Jesse Starks, who by the way is bow sponsor free, he's actually a free agent even though he's wearing that Hoyt shirt.
So sponsors, are you hearing that? He is a free agent.
He's a free agent and he is quite the shooter. Udalainen marches on.
So Shane's bottom left target is called
Got
in.
it. that was one that we initially saw. We thought might have been a 29.
Those are solid for Ball.
James Ball, no question about those, and that's what you really have to do.
That really gives you confidence too. If you shoot 3 solid arrows, it makes you feel much more relaxed going into that next end versus a bunch of liners.
Can't even imagine what people are thinking at Smoky Valley shooting in Kansas right now, watching their shooter.
Those look good as well. So we only lost 4 in that round.
Yeah. So those eliminated: Mike Schlusser, Levi Morgan, 2 of the biggest names in archery. Lee Gibbs and Jesse Starks will take a seat.
Gentlemen, once you have returned to the line from replacing your targets and retrieving your arrow.
We're in, guys, so talk about that. We dropped 4 guys there.
4 guys is all we lost. That's got to be the least I've ever seen. But in turn, when we're talking about this, they didn't change faces. And when they go to the little X, I've always seen them change faces. Because there were some arrow calls that were in spots where there was previous arrow holes that I think helped guys get some calls. I can't say yes or no, but you know, not being right there to look
lines.
at. Yes, with the new face, you get some crisper lines. But as we can see, they all are now getting new faces.
Yes. Yeah, Bruce gave them the direction, new faces.
Yep. So maybe that was a help, maybe it wasn't, but we'll see, because I've never seen us at 24 or in them numbers only lose 4.
Yeah,
it's usually half the field is caught almost instantly.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the guys are probably pretty excited. I mean, you get through the first one, it's like,
you get a little breather.
Yeah.
You get a little breather.
Yeah, I'm not the first guy out, you know? You don't want to ever be the first guy out. That's always a hard one, you know?
I mean, you take this field.
So they got the new faces now. Now we're going to see what can happen. Now you don't have the hole to aim at anymore.
And some guys struggle with that. I'll be honest with you. I change faces every round.
So frequently.
When I'm at home practicing. So it's never a problem to me, because at World Archery, they can rip a face down in the middle of the round. And I mean, World Championships in Torino, I got a new face every couple lands when I set a world record. But it didn't bother me because I shoot a new face enough.
Gotcha.
And so we'll see how this helps them.
Back to the action here.
Remaining.
Yeah, good math.
Yeah, I'm talking about that switch. That actually becomes a strategy. You see archers come to the line well in advance of their line time, so they can get out there and pick whether they want to start on the top or the bottom. Lots of people have personal preference on that.
I like to start on the bottom
I do
because
too.
when you switch, the bottom target will be full of arrows by the time you go up to shoot, because bottom shoots first.
Exactly.
And that way I don't make the mistake.
But what I've found is most of the pros prefer to start on the top, interestingly enough.
Dane Johnson doesn't look like he might have missed 1 or 2 so far.
And that was after he had 3 almost inside outs on the last end, so very surprising.
Christopher Perkins off the line quickly.
Yep, quick shooter.
Pettit sends that one down range. Dan McCarthy.
He's a little bit more of an aimer, so we'll see him hold a little bit longer than some of the other guys. Very typical of a 3D shooter. They have a minute to shoot 1 arrow versus here 3 arrows in 2 minutes.
We're hearing just cheers from the crowd for their favorite archers.
Once again,
down to the line we go. Judges will take a close look. Ooh, man, I'll tell you what.
We're going to be losing a few this time.
There's no doubt we're losing a few. Looks like Utalainen looks pretty good.
Wills look like he dropped. Again, pulling out their binos.
So here we go. It's the survival of these rounds in order to get to even come close to that 54,000.
Perkins solid. Look at those. That's a pretty target.
Christopher Perkins sets the benchmark at a 30. Anyone under that, and they're going home.
And again, he shot the most X's all weekend, so he's feeling pretty comfortable right now.
Freak show. Jesse Broadwater.
30.
Got it. 30, he moves on. Broadwater only 1X less than Christopher Perkins, so 84 out of a possible 90 for Perkins.
Okay.
As you see them.
Solid, Kyle.
Just give us your thoughts.
Well, you know, you got, like I said, the stress of waiting all this time to find out where you got. I'm Kyle, 30. I mean, you got a bunch of 30s still right out of the first group. I mean, let's be honest, they shot a bunch of X's today, so it's not that, or this weekend, so it's not that big a deal for them to be that far out. But with the new faces, at least got one a little tight there.
I think
it's in, but it's poking a little bit. It's kind of different, you know. Hard to call on the camera angle, but
right.
Yeah,
another 30. Man, we got guys holding longer, and like more guys staying in than I've seen in a long time. So,
I mean, even still, your first 4 guys have missed. I mean, Mikey was, I think, 5th, so even your
Bowens
top 4,
will look all good.
Yeah, Bowens are solid. I mean, he obviously you want him a little bit better, but
yeah, you'll take him how you can get him for sure.
Touching's touches.
Yeah. Yeah. On the scorecard, it reads 30. That's all. Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Oh, Chance's
got one out.
Number 3 is high right.
That bottom
so
right.
he'll be the first one in the row that we lose.
I mean, like I talked about, you look at this field. I mean, you got guys like Mikey and Chance, who 2 are the best. I mean,
but we won't see anyone break the record for Vegas wins today.
That's right.
Because Chance had 3, and there was 4 of us at 3 with.
And Mikey was the only one at 2 that could have tied everybody else.
Well, Jesse.
Oh yeah, Jesse is still there. Yep.
Yeah.
Justin Hanna was our first 10K a day winner the other night.
Yeah. He's been shooting good.
He shoot off.
I mean, he was down to the finals in the second one.
Right.
He's shooting a lot in the middle.
Oh, Holbert, the younger kid.
Yeah, younger kid. Holbert, 29. And the I mean, you can see the disappointment. I mean, you know the effort and the practice and the routines you put in to get there. And then, I mean, archery community is awesome. They all come up and congratulate you. But be honest, it's not really that.
Oh, Marlowe's got his 3rd ones out.
And Marlowe's got one out. So we're starting to see a little differences here. We're losing more, I think, more on the new face than we did, you know.
Right.
I mean, if you get some good holes going, we all know it. I mean, the guys that are shooting at this level, you get some good holes going, you don't want it. You don't want to change your face. You can, but you don't want to.
Yeah. But when they tell you have to, nothing you can do.
You got to.
Made it.
Man, and Danny did. Even for Danny, he held that last arrow pretty long.
And sometimes you don't always feel like they're the greatest shots, but your equipment carries you. And that's a huge part, you know. I mean,
oh, Jacob.
Another one.
And he had a good run.
Yeah, good run. Good showing. I mean, anybody gets this far shot well. I don't care who you are, whatever. I mean, shooting 900 to get this is tough. But to get even past the first round of X's, it's another big accomplishment.
All right, let's go back to Greg here. Greg and Crystal.
Yeah, Travis Tracy with a 29. So the 41-year-old can add this to his resume with his 2019 NFA Indoor National Shoot-Up.
And that's another, definitely 1, if not 2 out there. I think it's a 28, so he'll actually fall below those that shot a 29 in this end if it is a 28. Not happy.
No,
tell by the look on his face.
Of course not. And of course, Dane, you can tell he's a bit of a 3D shooter.
28.
So 28 for him. By the way, that's where he keeps his binoculars, right on his chest. You know, not a huge surprise as we go through this.
Oh, so we got
Sergio.
They're looking at that arrow pretty closely.
The one on target number 1. Is there any yellow between that arrow and that line? The middle lower
It looks like
part
he's
of your
shooting
screen.
25 sized arrows.
No.
Oh.
Sergio won't repeat this year, but what an effort.
And let's see, those look good.
30.
Jean Pizarro.
So we're up to 8 left.
Okay.
Looks like solid 3.
Jutalainen.
Whoop, didn't hear that one.
Jutalainen, 30.
There we go.
So 9. Again, we started with 23 archers. And that bottom left one's for sure out.
Yeah, no
so
question. So
the question is, does he have a 28 or 29? Because again, that's going to rank you in the final ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, good friend of his, see coming over probably to console him on this one.
Did a great job, though, getting to this final by shooting a 900, representing his brand. Yeah,
Wills, 29.
So he caught that, so that'll make a difference in how he gets scored at the end.
And he definitely has one out, if not 2, but I think they're going to call it a 29.
Ball, 29.
Mm-hmm.
So one more archer to go.
But like I was saying before, it's not a huge surprise as we get deep into this from the X count that we saw earlier in the weekend. Yes, they shot 900s, but when you start to drop those X's, and this is where we are.
That's a pretty target.
Yeah.
30.
That's a pretty target.
So we're down to 9 archers. Dane was the only archer to shoot a 28, so he'll actually fall to the bottom of that pack in terms of rank.
All right, so Rio, you were just saying the new targets. That seems to be what you think made the difference.
I think it did. You know, guys get holes they can aim at. You might get a little arrow call here or there because of the arrow holes prior. And, I mean, we see how many more we lost on the second end.
Yeah.
You know, usually the first end you lose a lot because of the nerves.
Right.
You get amped up and everything. But we lost way more on the second than we did on the first, which is not common. So my guess is the new face made a huge difference. But the guys look, I mean, what are we down to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Nope, 7.
There's some on the outside.
Yeah, some on the outside.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's getting closer. And, I mean, at this point, you could have a winner in the next end.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I almost think that when they get to the shoot-off, every 2 arrows you should change that face. For just consistency of the crisp lines and everything in that way, it'll keep it a lot more consistent.
He just said 10 left. Let's go back to the action here and see how many more we got.
It's win it all or slide back to 23rd for Glenn Bordwell. This is where the intensity starts to really ramp up. You start to thin out the herd. More fans are focused on you, and you can feel it. Justin Handa, left part of your screen.
Good shot.
He knew it too. There's Glenn Bordwell. He didn't look like he was happy with that shot. He grabbed his glasses pretty quickly.
He shook his head there, so wait to see. Looks like a couple 9s might be showing up across the screen there.
Bizarro.
Definitely has one out.
Yes, for sure. But again, the way this works is, let's say that all these shooters ended up shooting a 29. We still continue. So
you just have to tie the highest score on the field. You don't have to shoot a 30.
But when you're shooting against the likes of Christopher Perkins and Jesse Broadwater, it helps.
It pretty much means you need a 30.
And I like the way Christopher Perkins shoots in terms of speed. He has the ability to get those off quickly, putting the pressure on his competition.
Definitely.
Ooh, it looks like Bowen might still be in. Well executed. Justin Hanna's
They
target.
just appear to have lost half of the field. We'll find out with the official
So scoring's going to start ramping up now with only 10 shooters left in this one.
So definitely Pizarro has one out. I'd put my money on that one pretty safely.
It's going to come down to 5 shooters still
So
standing
who's going
after
to set the
scoring.
highest score? It's going to be Christopher Perkins who gets scored first. So let's say he scored a 29. He wouldn't be out until we came to a 30. But he sets the bar high.
Perkins has a 30 there.
Yeah.
And Perkins is shooting smooth.
I was going to say, Logan, you were saying you watched him today, and it was.
Yeah, I mean,
you
his
were
last
impressed.
3 arrows were phenomenal. And if anybody got to see his last 15 arrows of the day, like he cleaned the last 15. So he's grooving right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really in a
And
groove.
Jesse's got another one close here that
Yeah,
it
what do
does
you
have an
think?
arrow hole.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, this angle's tough to call this, but it is sticking outside the channel a little bit, so it could go either way. It's one of them you cross your fingers and hope it's your birthday, and you just never know.
I mean, I remember one of the Vegases that Dave, I don't remember if Dave won it, but he was contending and he took his quiver off. Like, oh, it's out. When
Yeah.
they get down there,
They
and
called it in.
And
Yep.
they called it in.
So,
Jesse's not liking it.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it.
Again, right there with that arrow right in that hole. It's
Yeah.
a tough one to call for anybody.
Is it the shaft touching the line, or does the point have anything to do if you've got like a leaner?
It's all lines as to how it's going to lay, like
Lines.
what your luck is.
I mean, you can get a favorable kick, absolutely, but, an arrow's going to follow the path of least resistance, and in these bag targets, who knows
Yeah,
what that's
right,
going to
yeah.
be,
And Louis out.
Louis out.
Louis shot good.
Yeah.
Louis was. You should have seen the emotion that came off Louis' face
Oh,
after
yeah.
he shot his 900. It was.
Yeah.
Those are the things that,
Yeah.
I mean, he may not have won, but guess what? He couldn't have been prouder at the moment of what he
Sure.
accomplished.
Yeah.
He's,
Oh,
of
yeah.
course, the outdoor target national champion.
Yep.
He won
Yep.
last year.
And the U.S. Open champion that same.
Yep,
And
right.
he's doing it the same weekend. That's tough. Yeah.
Rich Bowen.
Yeah.
Just keeps
He keeps
plugging.
hanging around. I mean,
Yeah.
he shot really good here last year with, as Matthews, and then shot really good at NFA
Yeah, I
Indoor
think he was
Nationals.
second here and second
He's
at-
almost, Richard, you don't see anywhere else, but you see him at Vegas and Indoor Nationals,
Yeah.
and he does well. It's like it's his wheelhouse.
Hannahs are good.
Yeah.
And
Hannah's
Hannah's are
just-
middle. They're in the middle.
Well, like I said, he was a finalist again for the $10,000. He's been really solid.
And he did that inside-out scoring. He stayed with 27s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was really on.
Yeah. Danny's got the one out.
Yep.
It's narrowing. I mean, and again, it's just getting tighter and tighter. And I mean, the closer you get down to the last few, you're like, ooh, this
Yeah.
could be mine.
Right.
And it'll change. What is interesting, you'll start watching the crowd tell you what people did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
You'll hear the oohs
the
and ahs.
birds will come out, as I call them.
Ooh-birds.
Yep. Because when it gets down to it and a guy misses, you hear the ooh or the, and I've been there. I've had to let up before because I heard the ooh birds and full draw,
yeah.
and you're like, you now know you have a chance to win or in that realm, and it's like, oh,
Pizarro had one low there.
hey, good. Every guy up here shot well. I don't, I know at this time when you miss, you're bummed out, and you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
But it's like, Yari's could have a 28.
Miko, yeah.
Looked like Miko
Miko,
had at least one out.
Yeah, Nico could have a 28.
28.
That's a tough one, like I said,
Yep.
Especially considering that he had 3 straight ends of 30s on extra scoring.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Glenn Boardwell here, lucky dog.
oh,
Yeah,
he's out.
too.
That's going to be him.
And so Glenn will actually fall back to the bottom
Of the 900.
of the 900s. So since he didn't win it, he
You
goes
ain't
all the
first,
way.
you're last. So we're down to 5.
Down to 5.
And it's going to get, like I said, you're just off the podium or you're just on. So there's
Yep.
still a little nerves of that yet, but you're getting, it's getting close. And some new faces are coming up.
What's funny is it's like pretty much the top 5. Like
Did Bruce give him the order to change?
I don't know, but I'm guessing that I'm guessing somebody did.
Yeah, or they wouldn't be changed. I mean, if you don't have to change, why change?
No, I know.
Unless you got bad holes, but
yeah.
If you shot X's, you're not wanting to, I mean,
no.
They're usually decent holes.
Right.
And, you know, just like any athlete, you're always a little superstitious. You just shot a 30 with it. Do you want to change it or do you not? Like, I mean, Michael Jordan wore his North Carolina shorts under his regular shorts his whole career. So we all know what kind of, you know, athletes are.
All right, let's go back to Greg.
See, now this will be interesting because now they're moving them. So
yeah, they're going to change spots.
Now, how does that affect? Now you got to move off your line.
So a couple years ago, Rio was the last guy at the NFA Indoor Nationals, and he was in a dark spot. And if you look, Perkins on that far end would look like it was a little bit darker on that side too. So
is that going to change his impact?
All right.
You know, I mean, this is. Does it in your mind think? Do you think these things?
You know,
is that going to wear on you? Is it going to change you?
I'm okay with them moving because it puts them in the center, but some people move further than others.
Right.
And is that an advantage or disadvantage? Because I feel like if you're going to move them, you move him towards the #1 seed. Don't make him as a disadvantage.
Yeah, I guess a reward. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
#1.
See, look down there at #1. Look how much darker it is versus 6 and 7 down there.
But maybe it was an advantage because that side of the field has stayed in pretty well.
Well, absolutely.
You can't say that one's disadvantage or advantage, but you look at results and you say, well, maybe that was, maybe it wasn't.
All right, let's see how this next end goes. Back to the action.
See on the podium, and we're down to 5.
$4,000 on the line. Take a deep breath. Everybody give him a huge round of applause.
And just to add more nerves to the situation, Bruce Call just decided to remind everybody, including these 5 archers, that there is $54,000 on the line.
He loves to do that.
And the crowd has gone crazy. A battle of bow manufacturers going on here as well.
Quick shot.
The backgrounds of these archers so incredibly different. Full time. That's out. And Bowen's in. Kyle Douglas is in.
Hannah's in.
Hannah's in.
Perkins, it could be a bad angle, but it's definitely questionable.
I don't know. Looking at Christopher Perkins' body language right now, Crystal. He did grab. He just grabbed a click. It's way out right.
Yeah, I don't think that caught.
Bowen's in.
But again, if everybody drops, you stay in. He didn't look happy with his last one. Somebody had to have shot a 30. We hear cheering.
Perkins is out. And amongst the cheers.
Broadwater looks out.
Wow. I mean, it looks like right now this crowd is cheering. It looks like young Kyle Douglas might have won. We've got to go down and take a look at the scores, but
wow.
Broadwater definitely out. Kyle Douglas in.
Hannah out. Wow.
Unbelievable. All right, so we know Perkins. He's got one out. So he's going to set the bar at 29 points, Perkins, possibly.
29.
All right, so 29. That's the benchmark.
If they tie at 29s, they're going to have a shoot-off for second and third still.
Absolutely.
So we're not done yet.
So we go to Jesse Broadwater. What's going through all these?
He's bummed.
29.
All right, so they're tied. So that's the mark. But we know, we can see what Kyle Douglas did.
PSC shooter. Look at that
22
beautiful
years old,
target.
And he did it when he needed to.
And those are all solid.
Sent those gold tips right to the center.
We're going to skip Douglas.
Look at him. You can see him tearing up.
Bruce Cole just said we're skipping them. We're not skipping them because we know that is a solid 30 for Kyle Douglas.
Bowen, 29.
So Richard Bowen in with a 29. So he's tied with Christopher Perkins and Jesse Broadwater. Now it comes down to Justin Hanna.
If he shoots a 29, that means 4 of them are going to be shooting off for second and third still.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
29.
All right,
Confirmation.
we have a winner.
22-year-old Kyle Douglas. As the crowd tells the story of 22-year-old Kyle Douglas, the pride of Harrisville, Utah, Brigham Bowman shooter. He's won one time at Vegas as a young adult. So that's Kyle Douglas, $54,000 and the Vegas Shoot champion, but it is not over because we've got to decide second, the third, fourth, and fifth.
Okay. Hey, so let's talk about that. There's Kyle Douglas. He just won. And Logan, you were saying now he's
set his target down behind there, so he doesn't yeah. It's sad because that's
well, they're going to have to stage it right now. He's going to have to go down to put up the target. It gets lost in the moment, right?
That's a shame.
So he doesn't, like I said earlier, he doesn't get his moment in the sun, and that sucks because in the same thing that happened on the female recurve shooter, she won. And then we had to sort out second and third. So it really is. I appreciate archery, and I love the World Archery Festival, and I love everything about this. But we got to figure out a way to allow it to be a little bit better for the winner.
This is 10 points only. The rest of it's 9, 8, 7, 6.
So Perkins and Broadwater both good. Bowen looks like
drop
close. Perkins looks to have just lost his rhythm. He doesn't look the same as he did opening the shoot off.
Definitely.
But solid shots. Not happy. It looks like he might have dropped one based on his body language. Nope.
I think Perkins is just upset, period, at this point, that he wasn't able to win
so
from position number 1.
It looks like at least one of them has one out, but we'll wait and see.
So this is to decide second through fifth place.
Another end. Now we got the scoring, we got all the things. It just is tough to me in my mind. I feel bad for Chris Thierry, one is the lucky dog, because he missed out on what you get here.
Yes,
and to me, that's the hard part. Is like part of winning this is you get all that excitement of a build up for all the work you've done, and then it's like and it's like now it's like but it's like now I got to go, and who knows where Kyle's at? Maybe he's up talking to his mom, his dad, or friends, but it's like.
He's the big winner.
Yeah, and the show's being put on somebody else right now when he should be the show.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love archery and we do a great job, but
this
is something that we could address and make it just a little bit better, I think.
Just for the winner,
it just.
And even for the spectators. When the Super Bowl comes up, we don't play another half to see if there was a third place finisher, and that's where. If we want our sport to get to another level, we have to look at aspects to make it even better. And I just...
Looks like Hannah's got one high there.
But I think it's still there. I think it's good, yeah.
I think that arrow hole makes it look higher than what it is.
I think the only one we lost was Richard.
Oh, there he goes. Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to do it again.
Yeah. And this could go a little bit because it's not for first.
Right.
The nerves are changed. It's a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle just won $54,000.
It
That's
dropped
what
to
everybody
15.
wanted to win.
Yep.
Yeah.
I rode down on the elevator with a guy today. And he's like, "Well, how do you feel?" I said, "Well, I missed a couple this weekend. Not one of my better performances, but I feel like shot okay." And he goes, "I said there'll be one guy that walks out here tonight really happy. Everybody else will be pretty disappointed."
But I will tell you, it's kind of interesting. Since the $50,000 prize, contingent or we'll just say prize, that Kyle's the first American to win it because it went Sergio, and then it went Perkins, and then it went Sergio, and so now Kyle will be the first one.
Yes.
And it was a long time before we ever had a foreigner even win it.
Yeah. Yep.
The first non-American was Deep Martrillis. And I want to say it was 2010 he won it?
Oh, I don't...
All right, let's go back here and see. We're going to keep shooting for second and third.
In Utah.
That's even more impressive because anyone that owns a shop will tell you spend more time on customers' bows than getting to shoot your own bow.
Yeah. All right. So here we have definitely Matthews, archers that are going to occupy second and third on the podium. But who? Christopher Perkins sends the first one. Looks like it's going to be 10.
Broadwater caught.
Yeah, and Hannah caught. So 10, 10, 10 so far. You said it, Crystal. Who's going to be the first one to flinch? This is the battle for second place. Perkins got it. Broadwater
Solid.
nailed it.
All three of them. This could go on for a while.
This is scoring end number 7 since we started this championship compound open. And bam, bam, bam.
Yep.
Only one that's even close is going to be Hannah's third arrow.
But it's not even that close.
Although, see, he's having a peek.
Maybe it is.
He's having a bit of a peek.
We're just going longer and longer because it's, like I said, it's the whole funny fact of like they're shooting for second now.
Right.
It's not as, I mean, don't get me wrong. Second place at 15 grand, no one's going to throw sticks at rocks at that. But it is still not the title of Vegas champion. And two of those three up there know what that is.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
And kind of go back to what we talked about with Kyle is like, and even when I said like Louis Price after he shot the 900, and you get to see that raw emotion.
Yes.
Bruce did introduce him as the champion, but there's a difference when you get introduced as a champion and you get friends and family that come down and greet. That's when the emotions just they just everything just boils over, and that's what you get to see, and that's where I feel like
it's still raw.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Yeah.
The last time I won in 2013, my mom had never been there when my dad had won twice or when I had won twice.
Yeah.
So she was actually here, and it was funny because they were up in the stands. They didn't have the edge sides, and she tried to come down, and they weren't going to let her down.
Oh.
And my dad pushed the guy
out.
pushed the guy across. Said, "This is his mom." And she come down, and I mean, it's just little things like that. In fact, I have a picture of that hanging in my range, and it's like, so it's like some really cool things that can happen in Vegas.
Absolutely.
As I said. So it's this is awesome, and these guys are going to stand here and shoot for a while, and I mean.
All right, let's go back to the action here. We're going to keep shooting.
Fourth place, $15,000 for second, $10,000 for third, plus podium bonuses, I'm sure, for all three of these athletes.
Pretty sure if I remember correctly, Jesse was actually part of the record-setting NFA Indoor Nationals in terms of the number of rounds a shoot-off went. It went something like 22 ends, if I remember correctly.
It's got to be strange to shoot. Here, the crowd has barely thinned out after the champion was decided. There's still plenty of people in here cheering.
No, but it starts to get to be just like you're practicing at home once you shoot this many ends after this many ends.
Yeah, good point. They're all in so far.
Yeah. I think the nerves, you know, they've settled in and they're just shooting their shots at this point.
Nope, Justin Hanna didn't like that one. No,
looks like
Hanna might have missed it. So it's Jesse to keep this thing going. Long hold for Broadwater.
It's going to be Chris Perkins.
Yeah, you can
so
see
Hannah's out. Yep.
Looks like Jesse got it. Christopher
Perkins
got it.
Definitely got it.
So unfortunately for Justin Hanna, that last arrow is the one that's going to cost him. As we see congratulatory handshakes come across. So it looks like Hannah's going to drop out of this one on end number 8. But
he'll be fourth.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So we saw Justin Hanna drop out there.
Yeah.
It's going to be Chris Perkins. So Hanna takes fourth.
Yeah.
Now we've got.
Now you both know you're on the podium. It's a little
Yep.
different. Now does the nerves even relax more? Because you're talking, I mean, you know you're going to get a contingency check.
Yeah.
You're going to get your on the, you know. Because you knew second or third, yeah, it'll be interesting to watch and see how it affects them.
And these two have shot so much in the middle today that.
Do you feel like when you're fighting for second or third, is there? I'm sure there's still that drive, but probably not the same as for one.
No, you still want to. I mean, as a competitive person, you still want to beat the guy across from you. But it's. I don't know how the letdown would be right now. That you. I mean, I'll give them props because they've all shot really well since then. But you went through a big letdown just a minute ago, and they've all stayed working hard and doing it because it's a huge letdown. I mean, you walked into today going, "I want to win this." You're not winning it, and now it's like, well, let's see where we can go with this.
See what happens.
And the competitive nature kicks in, and you're both like, I want to keep shooting, so and I want to beat the guy across from me.
Sure, I mean, now it's a head-to-head match. So
yeah,
like,
pretty much,
hey.
yep. Arrow for arrow. And this is where you can almost guarantee the crowd will tell you who wins.
Yep.
You don't have to even, I mean, as the archer, you can hang your binoculars down. You're going to hear the ooh birds, the ah birds, the, you know.
Yeah, I mean, even the year that I took second, I remember I came up with my last arrow and Chance missed his second arrow. And I was just getting ready to full draw, and I heard everybody kind of ooh. So, you know, I didn't really have to regather myself. I knew it still had to be done, but you know, like Rio said, you don't have to look. They'll tell you.
All right.
Especially when it gets down to the 2.
We got another end here. Let's see what happens.
A big distinction, though, as you look at both archers' bows, you can see Jesse just tapped that little device, and that is a sweet spot device that actually measures pressure of how much force he puts on that bow, and it gives him an indicator inside of his scope housing if he's within the normal pressure that he usually shoots while he's pulling the bow apart. And so it's just a little bit of an aid to help Jesse maintain his shots. Ooh, Perkins. It looked like Perkins' shot.
Solid
Jesse's
for
is
Jesse.
good.
Ooh, he's out. Wow.
So Jesse now needs to stay clean, and we have our second
He
place
knows.
finisher.
He knows.
The crowd wish with a hush, but it is not over. Perkins has to put this one in the middle. Didn't like that one, but it looked good there. All right,
Too solid for Jesse. So Jesse just needs to put this in to solidify second.
And he does it. There it is. So we go to 9 ends of scoring, and Jesse Broadwater with a 30 will be our second place finisher. Wow. 27 arrows of competition. And Christopher Perkins was our #1 qualifier. Jesse Broadwater, our #2 qualifier. Kyle Douglas, our #3 qualifier. And I don't remember a year which I have seen our top 3 qualifiers end up in one form or another finishing 1, 2, 3.
No, this is crazy. And all they did was invert themselves.
That's it. As Kyle Douglas went from 3 to 1, Christopher Perkins went from 1 to 3.
And Jesse stayed in second.
Yep. So Perkins with a 28, just as confirmation. And I guarantee you both of these shooters are going to be thinking about that
Jesse
end
Broadwater,
number
second
5
place
for a
with
long
30.
time.
Chris Perkins, third place. Congratulations.
They've both won Vegas before, but everybody wants that next Vegas win.
Wow. What a Vegas shoot we have had, anticipating this all year long. 23 shooters come to the forefront to compete for that $54,000. And it took Kyle Douglas just 5 ends of competition to do it. That was incredible. So is Jesse Broadwater and Christopher Perkins, who will see each other on the podium. We think we're going to have a treat for you as we await the arrival of our 2020 Vegas Shoot champion. There's Kyle Douglas congratulating his other competitors, as Kyle got to shoot 12 less arrows than they did. What an incredible Vegas Shoot 2020. If you haven't made it to Vegas and you're an archer, you need to. That'll do it for us from the 2020 Vegas Shoot from Las Vegas, Nevada. South Point Hotel and Casino, congratulations to all of our archers, especially Kyle Douglas, who walks away as the champion, $54,000 richer. 3 more years. NFA has signed to be here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. Look it up online, the Vegas Shoot, and make sure you get here. Thanks for joining us. For everyone here, we'll see you next year at the Vegas Shoot 2021.
Rio, Logan, we certainly appreciate your time here tonight, your insight. I learned a lot. I hope the viewers did as well.
It was fun. It's good to be able to just talk about it and just share with everybody. It's fun.
I mean, the people from home, not everybody gets to come to Vegas, and I hope we can give it a little extra insight and see in the pressure and what everybody's feeling and going through than what you do on an everyday thing. So I hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Thanks a lot, folks. 2020 Vegas Shoot is in the books here at the South Point Casino and Hotel. We certainly appreciate you joining us all weekend long. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.